and welcome back to Pia Pops Off, a podcast where I talk about everything and anything, usually pop culture. And today we are back. We took a little break because I was traveling and I deserve a little vacation. But we're back with the group chat. We're back with my usually Bravo besties, but we all know my besties in life, Shirla and Jaleeza. And like promised, we will be covering Love Island USA. So before we get into that, let's get to the Pia Pop business that we have to attend to. And that's doing all the usual things. To support this podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, please give us a 5-star rating and maybe a nice little comment so that way we can push this podcast out to the masses. Because you know what? I'm trying to get picked up on a podcasting network, specifically Unwell, So let's start pushing that. Let's do me a favor and do those ratings. And then also if you're watching the visual, hey, don't forget to take this moment to subscribe, hit the notification bell and the like button. And again, meet us in the group chat, meet us in the comments so we know how you are liking Love Island USA so far. All right, as promised, I have Shirla and Jaleeza waiting over in our villa, our group chat villa. And because we are like Love Island USA is literally 21 episodes in, we are not going to be recapping all 21 episodes. We're not freaking crazy. But we will be going over what we have thought about the cast, the recouplings, the couplings, and our predictions. And what we think is going to happen this season, and also some of the things that we've been hearing on social media, okay? So we're going to kind of give a crash course of what we've been thinking of Love Island USA over the past 21 days, and then moving forward, we will recap Love Island USA until everyone is in their final couples and America has voted on their favorite couple weekly, okay? So let's meet Shirla and Jaleeza in the group chat. Hello, and welcome back to Pia Pops Off. I'm here with my very best two bombshells, Jaleeza and Shirla. Welcome to the group chat villa, ladies.
Hello.
Oh my gosh, it's been a minute. It has been a minute. We took a little vacation, but we're back. And
We're back.
I personally binged watched this current season of Love Island USA season 7 in a span of 3 days, and I kind of liked it. I know that was crazy, but like I kind of liked it because that way I didn't have to like do it day by day, and I kind of just got to watch one really long movie. But I know you guys have been watching it in real time, so we are going to in the future, just so people can kind of have an understanding of how our recaps are going to go. It's going to be different from our other recaps, like on Bravo. It's too much things happen. This show's on 5 days a week, and things change daily. So we're going to be doing it weekly after we do our major recap of the first 21 episodes. Do not worry. Do not be scared off. We are not going in detail. This is just going to be timeline, our overall thoughts of the cast, couples, and it's going to be in things that are happening on social media and in the villa, and then predictions. And that's going to be what today is. And then moving forward, we'll do weekly recaps of vibes, mostly vibes. So, okay, buckle up. Let's start. For those who have not been watching Love Island, we're going to quickly do a little timeline of who the OG cast is, bombshells, and casa more bombshells. If you already know all of this, go ahead. Feel free to skip ahead to get to the meat of what we're going to be talking about. There will be timestamps. But if you're new here and you want to kind of get an overview and you feel a little overwhelmed or intimidated, this is your moment. I'm giving you the timeline in rapid fire speed. No details. Sorry, guys. So let's starting out with who we started out with. OG cast, starting with the girls. We have Shelly, Olandria, Huda, Yulissa, and Bella. For the boys, we had Ace, Nick, Taylor, Austin, and Jeremiah. And they coupled up in the way of it was Shelly and Austin, Olandria and Taylor, Ace and Yulissa, Bella and Nick, and Huda and Jeremiah. Okay, so that's where we started. Those were the couples. Mm-hmm. And then Yulissa kind of got yanked out in the middle of the night because she is racist.
Correct. Disappeared.
She
Bye,
disappeared.
girls.
Bye.
See you never.
See you never. She was gone like within the first 24 hours, as she should be.
Austin should have followed her too.
I'm surprised he's still there.
And once we get into the portion of like talking about our overall thoughts of the cast, because I kind of binge watched everything in the last 3 days, I have heard very little about each person outside of the villa. So I am going to be really relying on Shirla and Jaleeza to fill me in on everything that's been happening online because I didn't want any spoilers. And I have heard some rumblings about Austin. So we'll circle back to Austin.
Yeah.
Okay. So then the bombshells that have entered the villa in the last 21 days, we have starting with the girls. We have Sierra, Amaya, Hannah, Iris, and Adriana. Is that how you say her name? Adriana?
Andrina.
Excuse me. Andrina. And then for the boys, we have Charlie, Pepe, Jalen, and TJ. So those were the bombshells that entered the villa in the last 21 days. And essentially from those couplings, I was going to go through it, but I'm not because there's so many things shifted. But essentially where we're at now, because we're at Casa Amor. So we have the Casa Amor bombshells that entered, which would be starting with the girls, Coco, Grayson, Clark, Jaden, and Vanna. And then the boys would be Elon, Brian, Zach with a K, JD, Chris, and Zach with a C. So those are all of the bombshells. And I feel like I kind of like how they are structuring it this season, because I feel like a lot of times, or at least from what I gathered from last season, the people who enter, the bombshells that enter the Casa Amor, I feel like they get the short end of the stick a lot. And I feel like I like that they kind of gave them power a little bit. What are your thoughts on that? Or did you not like that?
I don't love it.
Oh!
I don't. And part of it
either.
is maybe that like Casa Amor holds no weight this season because there is not a single strong couple. So like the whole purpose of Casa Amor is gone because there's no stakes. And like, I'm glad maybe the Casa people get to enter the house, but like the fact that like you have all the OGs like grafting left and right just so that they don't get eliminated because now you're eliminating someone from Casa.
Yeah,
I just felt like the dynamics were all off to me.
I agree. One thing I liked about this Casa, the only thing I liked about this Casa is that typically the girls don't go wild. And so I appreciate the fact that like the girls tried. They literally was like, you know what? I'm going to take this experience and I don't know what the boys are doing and I'm going to go out. Whereas as always, the boys go wild and then we see it on movie night. What I don't like is the fact that it gave the Casa people power. And so like, and you hear the Casa boys just talking like, I want some lips. I deserve lips and things like that as if they are entitled. And to think that they have, and one of the guys, Chris, being like, oh, I kissed Huda, and so now she's on my radar. You do not have options, Casa boy, okay?
You should
so
be
the
begging.
You guys like the hierarchy that Casa Amor brings.
Because like the point of Casa Amor is that they bring in the OGs or the people who's in there is tight. And that's is to test the relationships. So like you are really going in because you had told the producers, this is the girl that I want for me. It's like if people have only seen season 6, because like it happens every single year, but season 6 who are more familiar. For example, Cordell and Dea. Dea went directly in for Cordell. Like that's just for a test. So the fact that Chris is thinking, I'm already going back to the house and I have options is to me defeats the purpose. And I do not like that.
Okay. I get that. And I guess this is why maybe I don't feel that way. One, you guys have been watching Love Island way before me. I am that person that this is my second time watching Love Island. And I'm actually technically watching the unpopular version of Love Island, knowing from a lot of people that UK was the predominantly popular one. And USA only made popular last season due to just like lightning in a bottle with the cast and also with the host, which is Ariana, who brought me to watching Love Island. I'm actually wearing her merch right now. Ariana, the host from Vanderpump Rules. And
moving from CBS to Peacock. That was also a really big thing.
Big thing. And also I think, I don't know if I would feel a little differently if I had been watching it every single day. I know it's only been 2 weeks, but like, I didn't have time because I was busy the last 2 weeks because I was, traveling. So I'm kind of watching it almost like a long movie. And so for me, I feel like I didn't get an opportunity to really care enough about people. It's almost like everybody is the same to me. So it has not made me like have loyalty to anyone in particular, because almost like it's me, I've kind of been introduced to everybody within the last 3 days. For the most part. But I get what you're saying. I think that the only reason why I personally am interested in the way that they did it is because I don't know how you guys feel about the connections or the cast, but in comparison to last year, I feel like there's a lot more inauthentic couples this season. So for me, that made the twist. I liked the twist for this season. And I'm wondering if the producers feel the same way too. And so therefore is trying to shake it up. Because I personally feel like Ace is playing producer with Nick and Taylor assisting him, and is working pretty damn well so far, in my opinion. And I kind of wanted to take the power from him. Have you felt that way?
I have thought.
I know you have, and I know you work. We'll get to it real quick, but like the videos online of like Daddy Ace and Taylor and Nick are hilarious.
Okay, so
I don't find that funny for me.
Wait,
because I feel
can you tell me more about that? I don't know what that means.
Just because there's a lot of videos of him being like, we need to like basically him puppeteering them.
Yes, that's what I've been feeling.
As a very short little
This
man.
is what I need to speak out on.
You think he has a Napoleon complex, Jaleeza?
No.
Oh, no, I don't think
that.
No, I don't necessarily think he has a Napoleon complex. I definitely think he's come to win. He's come to win it. And as a side note, and I think a lot of people have. I think whereas, and maybe the UK personality is a little different because they're always very much like, oh, I came here for connection. Like the competition level tends to be lower on the UK side. But whereas like last season, even if they were there to win the money and had their eyes on the money, you at least felt like they were making connections. This season feels far more strategic. So regardless, and as far as the social media thing, I'm not referring to how they're portraying them necessarily. Sure. It's just that everybody else is seeing it. It's basically like if Ace doesn't like you, the three of them are going to.
It's an alliance, and that's fine because there were alliances last season. There's always alliances on any show.
Yeah.
The reasoning that they're voting for people. Yeah, the reasoning that they're voting for people necessarily, I think, doesn't always cut it for me. Like I don't mind who they're voting for, whatever, but like it just seems like to me maybe this cast is missing the core of what Love Island's supposed to be.
Here's just my thought process.
Really quick before Shirla starts, I do want everybody to know that Shirla, Jaleeza, and I, if you have, been a part of our group chat before, hello, welcome. If you have not, we try not to talk about anything that we're recapping, although we talk a lot, but we try not to talk about our recaps. So this is truly the first time we're finding out any of our opinions. And if you don't already know, we do not like to just agree to agree. So this is healthy conversation, and it always should be healthy conversation. So I have heard that people have been too much online about the cast, and we're not going to be doing that here. So letting you know that now. Sorry to cut you off, Shirley. I would love to just back to you, buddy.
That actually helps me because it organized my thoughts. So I feel a little bit protective of Ace because I feel like I am the Ace. Where it's like a lot of people say that they like honest people until they meet an honest person.
Okay.
And so for me, I feel like a lot of people do project on him to where he will speak his mind. But my thing is production has a lot to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
I can recognize a villain edit a mile away. And so I also recognize a Loverboy edit in Nick. Because to me, Nick is the actual villain that everybody thinks Ace is.
Interesting.
And so one thing, and if you notice, there's two things that I've noticed about this season that is the reason why a lot of people are not close, that feels this cast is authentic and feels like they don't have the great connections, is that they did away with their morning debriefs. Those were very helpful for when like the girls would talk, the guys would talk, and you get a little insight on where they are with their relationships. They got rid of that for some reason. And then when it comes to deliberation or any type of vote, the only voice they show is Ace's voice.
Yeah, we don't see
They
any of
don't
it
show
anymore.
anybody else's voice but Ace's voice. And that's done on purpose because, first of all, Ace has had a big following prior. So for those who may not know, he just a popular TikToker and streamer. So he was a TikToker that shows people dance moves in different countries.
Right.
And like, or if like someone was having breast cancer, like he was even on a lot of the daytime shows. He's had a following going in. So when people are like he's clout chasing for money, he has more money than the actual show itself. So for me, I feel like they are now using tidbits of him because anytime they put him on the first look, that automatically has so many views. And it's like, they know what they're doing. Okay. So I feel like they are crafting a narrative around him. And also with this house, like for example, the Jeremiah vote. They should have never let us vote to break up a couple. Because if you think about it, they voted for Jeremiah to go with Iris. That broke up Huda and Jeremiah.
Right.
So the house is thinking, okay, we did think that it was weird that they locked in day one, and we've been talking about it, and now we are confirmed by America. And then after they did that, 2 days later, they have another vote of best girl, best guy. America saves Huda and doesn't save Jeremiah. What do you think the cast is going to think now? He's the problem. So then they're going to vote him out.
Yes.
And then guess what? Did they not really show the deliberation of that at all? We just heard the after.
Yeah.
That to me was suspicious.
I agree with you on the production side of it because especially learning from last season's cast, especially through what's her name? Leah specifically. Production, and that's why everybody has to really relax and just take this show for what it is, which I truly think is pure entertainment. And we have to be
100%.
Whatever happens outside of the villa, like in their real lives, like for example, Yulissa, who got voted off. I know like it might sound like I'm being a little hypocritical because I called her racist. That is not, I'm speaking of things that she has online. Things that have
You're also not harassing her.
Like
You're not doxing her.
There are video evidence of her saying racial slurs, the N-word specifically, and just the way that she speaks about, I feel like, especially what it seems like Black women. So that is where I'm coming from when it comes to that person. So we can be like, obviously this is a podcast. We're talking about people. We're talking, like I've talked about people on like reality shows. I don't think that I think you're allowed to be able to be critical of people. You're allowed to talk about what's happening on the screen. We can only talk about what we're seeing, really. We can also hypothesize, but we also need to be careful in how we're doing it because at the end of the day, we do not know these people. And especially when it comes to Love Island, it is so much different because these this is a vacuum. You're putting a bunch of people in a situation that's in a vacuum of isolation. They have no communication outside. They have nothing. It's just like we all freaked out when TikTok went away for 24 hours. People making like videos crying online. We didn't have TikTok for 24 hours and everyone crashed the fuck out. And you have Huda crashing out in a villa and we're labeling her with like a lot of abuser and things like that. We're going a little step too far. There's a difference between saying that you think Huda's annoying or maybe that Huda centers herself or that she's not emotionally ready. Those are differences than just trying to like label her or break her down to make her feel like
she's messaging her baby daddy.
Yeah. Like they're sending Ace's family death
There is a limit. There is a line.
Her family death threats. Like I'm also very protective of Love Island because, and Jaleeza knows this, that they've had a history, and granted, our media is not as bad as their media, but the fans are starting to become UK fans, where contestants have unalived themselves because of this show. And for years, and it's like, yes, a lot of people's reference for is season 6 and Leah talking about the producers, but this has been going on for years. The producers tell them, they can't necessarily tell them who to vote for because there's a cash prize, but they tell them who to pick. They'll say, like, this is not that time for you to pick at this moment in time. And so when people get on people for choices that they make, sometimes it's not up to them.
It's and that is true. And again, like, I'm still learning that. Like Miguel from who was in a couple with Leah, one of the fan favorites of last season, who is still with Leah to this day. Most people, including myself, thought it was so random. I even had criticism for the way in which I felt like, I'm like, Leah, you had just coupled up with him one day prior before he went into Casa Amor, like he owes you nothing. But then Miguel and Leah, especially Miguel recently, he was like, oh yeah, like, producers really pushed for me to pick somebody else in Casa. I actually had regrets when I came back and I wanted to end it. And producers told me I could not, and kept me away from Leah for the next 2 days. So it looked like I didn't want to talk to her. So again, especially on Love Island, you have to understand the producer's first thing is creating a show and a storyline, and they kind of like want certain things to happen. So for ratings, kind of like, I feel like what you're saying on the production side when it comes to Ace. So to that point, Shirla, I'm in total agreement, and I get that, but I still do feel like, overall, I feel like, and it's just not Ace, it's most of these people, which is why I feel like we have so many less genuine connections, because I feel like people, a lot of the cast, came on the show seeing how successful the previous cast was to this goddamn day. And they're almost trying too hard to play producer or go off of the blueprint of last year in the hopes of gaining what they have. And I don't know if they're doing it intentionally or if they're doing it subconsciously, but that's what I feel from Ace specifically. I feel like they want to be the PPG coupling, and they pick their 3. I feel like Ace, Nick, and Taylor are the 3. I think Jeremiah was their, like, what's the one guy I freaking hate from last season, that was with Nicole? Kendall. But I feel... Oh, you froze.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Oh.
I can hear you.
She's frozen. Hold on. Blacked out. Let me text her. Oh, she's... Oh, her computer dropped.
Oh, no.
The producers of Love Island hacked into this recording because they were, like, Shirla was on to them, and they were trying to stop her. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. So we're back. And Shirla, you will not be silenced. What was your point, babe?
So my point is that, so you brought up Ace is trying to recreate PPG. And my counterpoint is that the producers, since Love Island season 5 UK, always create an archetype. It's just like Big Brother. Like, when they see formulas work and they try to make it successful, they initially, like, if you watch the beginning of the season, they brought in Olandria and Shelly as a Janae and Serena.
I knew that. I felt that.
Yeah, exactly. They brought in Huda
as Aaliyah,
and then they realized they try to position Huda as Aaliyah, and then when that wasn't working out, but it didn't work. The boys started to get more engagement, and so they switched the 3. And I would agree with you normally, being like, oh, like, they are not real, but they actually have genuine friendships, and we saw that when one of them got eliminated. And so for me, I'm like, this is where you have to, when things are not adding up, you have to, like, realize that they are crafting a story. Like, for example, of, like, there was one of them where when Huda and Jeremiah was broken up, and he, like, came in and, like, gave her breakfast or something like that, and they showed Huda make a face. But if you notice, Huda, when he walked in, was not even in the room. And then they picked her up in a different frame to put Huda like reacting somewhere else. And it's like, those are the things you have to pay attention when things are not making sense. And so to me, it's like, everybody's not authentic, but yet we don't hear any of their conversations. And people are like comparing it to last season, which is like fine. But when you watch a lot of these seasons, it's like Casa Amor is when everything picks up. So everyone's seeing the end goal. Because if you think at this time last year, everyone was thinking Serena hated Cordell, me included. Because guess what? We didn't see when Serena was braiding Cordell's hair. We didn't see that Cordell gave Serena a ring. So when he was going to Casa, everybody was like, I hope he cheats on her. And he did. And then he comes back to them. So it's like all these things of like, you have to even put like Janae was, with Hakeem, like it's like all, and with Connor's situation. So you would have thought last year, who were all the genuine couples?
Okay, that's a fair point. And that's why I say like everything is a grain of salt. And I did want to mention that even with my criticism with Leah and Miguel and not completely understanding how quickly, and I'm still being a little confused because I would have been like, I literally said, there's no way that they will stay together because like it just
we don't know anything about them.
They got together at what it felt like the very, very end of the show. So it was just like, I also the way they did frame Miguel did make it feel like Miguel was a person that was here for just the money.
Exactly.
Right? So all that being said,
and they were trying to push Leah and Rob.
Correct. And also all that being said, completely understand like, but there is to your point, I can maybe soften to it's not Ace is not necessarily doing this as like intentional necessarily as intentionally, but I feel like for me the reason why I'm still not really vibing with Ace is because to me, whether he's doing it to win money or for a genuine connection, I don't really love that he has put like, and I think, yes, editing can do a lot, but there are moments where he is giving me enough to be able to form some type of opinion that he is producing entirely too much for my taste. In the sense of like, he cannot, like, just because the way that he is playing or the way he is approaching Love Island is one way, he is making it into that is the only way you can approach Love Island. And I did not find it fair for him to put that on Jeremiah. I kind of felt bad for Jeremiah because I felt like Jeremiah could never really I never felt like I truly could get what he felt because I felt like he was either trying to please Huda or he was trying to please the boys. And when he tried to please Huda, he was pissing off the boys. When he tried to please the boys, he was pissing off Huda. And never at once was anybody really happy for him at one time. And that annoyed me. I feel like you can give people advice, but I felt like Ace is entirely too involved in everybody else and what they're doing and how they're approaching it. And if you're not approaching it the way he's approaching it, he has a lot to say. And I feel like Taylor.
For you.
Okay, go ahead.
What are one? I can't wait to get to my Jeremiah outfit because I have the opposite of Jeremiah. I personally have met so many Jeremiahs in my life that I recognize that he is a love bomber through and through. And he has this tendency of, and he did it with Huda. Like patterns are happening with him that it's like, to me, it feels so obvious that now he's able to go on a tour and feel like the victim. And it's like, and paint Huda out to be the crazy one. So for me, when he met with Huda, he immediately, within 5 seconds, was like, I don't want to kiss Jaleeza because I already got my girl. You don't know this lady at all.
Right.
Fine. And even in the beginning, he kept being like, you're the one for me, talking to her as if if you listen to their conversations, he was basically closing it off with her to make sure that she wouldn't talk to any other buddy in there.
Okay.
And be open. Fine. They break up. Then all of a sudden it's like, then he chooses Iris over her. And it's like, oh, I want a fresh new start. I want to start with you, Iris. but then tells Huda she's not my type. I'm really not that into her. His type walks in the door immediately. Iris, we're friends, talks to the bombshell, but tells Huda, remember when he was going back to Huda, he was like, maybe we should start off as friends because we started off physical first. But then gets with the bombshell, 24 hours later, makes out with her in front of the whole house.
See,
and shuts her
okay.
down. That's my opinion on him.
Okay, I want to hear from Jaleeza, and then I'm gonna, because the funny thing is, I have a complicated journey.
I love this.
Jeremiah. But Jaleeza, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm probably somewhere in the middle. I think both things can be true. I do think Jeremiah is a love bomber. I think, right, like, I don't know if he knows how to play this game, or like in the beginning, I think he was the one who had said something about like making it all the way to the end. So
and
I definitely do think he came in strategically and wanting to play. But at the same time, I think Ace did too. And whether it's to win for the money or whatever, I think Ace came in, one, he does have a huge following. He came in wanting to be the big dog, right? Jeremiah is a beautiful man. And I do think there was some competition there. And
that's
so
what I feel too.
I don't doubt that when Ace saw his opportunity to get Jeremiah, and we're backed by America because they don't want him here either. Not that it was all Ace's decision, but I don't think it was any skin off Ace's back either.
Yes.
I guess my issue is
I do think the friendships are real. Like, I will agree with you on that. Like,
thank you for bringing it back to that. I think the friendships are real.
Very much Friendship Island. It feels like the romantic relationships do not.
That's what I mean.
The
that
boys,
to me is like a lot of people say that, and I feel like
great friends. The girls, like one of the things I love about Love Island is like the girl friendships.
Yeah.
So I think those relationships have blossomed in the villa.
Yeah.
It's just like that those romantic connections.
I think
can I jump in really quick because I want, because I think we're going to move on to the next thing, and I want to address you, Shirla, about the Jeremiah thing. The one thing I did see before the season started was I saw a girl online say that she found out that she was no longer talking to Jeremiah when online. Right. And I don't know I don't actually know the validity. They weren't like in an actual relationship. I think they were in a situationship, but it's like whether you're in a situationship or not, it is a little weird and I don't know if she's telling the truth or not. Like, I don't know. I saw it, her videos literally the week that the show was starting, and I haven't checked back since. So take again that with a grain of salt. I know people are clout chasers, so again. But so for me, I had that little information when I started the show, right? And so I'm like, I had my eye on Jeremiah as a person that's coming here for the wrong reasons. He's coming here probably to win money, for clout, and all these things. So I actually came in very critically of Jeremiah, the only person I had an opinion on. And I tried my best to like still be open. And I think that I was, because then I ended up changing a little bit my opinion as we went on. But so I did think he was a game player. And I did also feel like he was love bombing. But I think at some point, I do think that I do think he liked Huda. I personally, but the thing is, I think that I don't think it was going to be a long-lasting situation. I don't think it's in the same way Huda was liking Jeremiah, but I also think Huda likes Jeremiah because she just wants to be with someone, and that's it. So I feel like it makes sense that they were not together. Ultimately, what happened with them splitting up was the best. I just did not like the approach that everybody in the house was taking with it, and and that's where I was like, okay, guys, you can have your opinions, but it felt like people like Ace, Taylor, and Nick were trying to like punish people that were not on the program that they decided that they like. And I think it was all three of them. They're like, this is what we decided that like, if like who you should be with, how you should be playing, because then the rules change depending on people. You're saying that Huda and Jeremiah should be exploring new people, but yet you're telling like Ace is and Nick is telling Taylor like it felt like it felt like they wanted to keep Taylor around and was kind of coaching him on how to kind of pretend to like Alondria. And I didn't like that because I don't think that Taylor has ever really liked Alondria. I think he likes her as a friend. I don't think he likes her as a romantic partner. And Ace is sitting there coaching him on how to stay. So he could, and I feel like that has now fucked up Alondria's chances of potentially finding love. I specifically thought she should have had been with Jalen, and they purposely split them up to keep Taylor, and that was not fair.
But the thing is that what you guys, Beldesha had an interview, and the first person who got voted out, and she actually said her and Taylor had a connection. We never saw that.
And I actually told a coworker of mine, the people that should have been paired together was Bella and Taylor. They make the most sense, and I don't like, and that was a missed opportunity. So
exactly.
they don't. Okay.
So we never saw that. So it's like things of like where a lot of people like, listen, Taylor is tailoring right now, and it is a thing of, there are things that we're not seeing. And so we don't know some of the things that Taylor is telling some of the boys. And so in their mind, they're like, okay, Taylor did try to explore a connection. He ended up going with Alondra, thought it was stronger. And actually, the producers set it up that way to where Nick could have the choice between Sierra and Beldesha.
Right.
Anyway. So he didn't even have a choice to go with Beldesha and get rid of Alondra to go. So that's one for gone. So his other connection, out the door. Now he's in a house of like the only connection he has right now. And I'm not making excuses for Taylor. I just think Alondra is one of my favorite people, by the way, FYI. But he did try to explore. We just never see it. We never saw it at all. So in our mind, we're just like, okay, he's in there for one person only, and he don't even like her. Who else is he in there? He also thought to talk to Huda, but Huda was closed off with Jeremiah.
Right.
So he couldn't even explore that. So that was another thing of just like, Huda is closed off to all the boys. Jeremiah is closed off to all the girls. And that's
But Bella wasn't
Island.
closed off. So
she
why?
Wasn't, but we never saw that conversation. We never saw Taylor and
No, but
Beldesha.
to be fair, he could have picked her. I mean, yes.
He no,
yes,
no,
he could have.
We've had now. Granted, like we have.
You can though, because Miguel. Hold on, sorry, 1 second.
Yes,
you can.
Yeah.
They will be pissed off at you. It's not that you can't. Exactly, but also Miguel did the same thing. That's what Miguel said. He said he was not supposed to pick. He was not supposed to break up with what's her name and go back with Leah, and he did it anyway. And producers were pissed. So you can.
But who did Miguel pick the first time?
Even in elimination,
Miguel picked Liz the first time.
Correct.
And he wanted to pick Leah first, and he could not. They told him to pick Liz. So think about it. This is your first couple of days.
And the thing is, Shirla, I am so much in agreement with you that producers are manipulating people. Like the producers here are the real villains here.
They literally split this season.
Go ahead. Sorry,
go ahead.
Let's just not yes. Could Taylor have been told, pick Alandria, you don't have a choice, this is what we want to set up? Yes. However, at the same time, I think he does, it is also his decision, right? Like, because
for sure.
Had they been in the house and things gotten differently and the producers saw, okay, we have something here, then you're setting it up for a blindside, and now Alandria, so yes, there's a lot of producer interference, but at the same time, like, I'm also going to hold these men accountable just to the sense that like he also made the decision, right? So like
I'm less about
there is a world where he could
and that's why I say that I wish
if he was really that into her.
And that's where I say I'm
defending them, and more about I'm annoyed at the fact that the producers are letting things on the putting things on the cutting floor.
Yeah.
So we're not getting a lot of the full stories. Yeah. And I think the only thing that bothers me is like, I no doubt, like, to me, it's never about like, if people don't like Ace, they don't like Ace. I don't care. I think my issue is that they solely focus on Ace and miss other things. Like yes, they keep saying the Jeremiah decision was all, one, they're blaming everything on Ace, knowing that, Nick was his best friend. knowing that when they played every single game that they played and they talk about eliminated somebody, everybody in that house picked Jeremiah Huda. So, like, to me, it's like crazy to me that like all of a sudden people are so focused. Even in the beginning of the season, Olandria was like, Jeremiah's a love bomber. Isn't that scary, Huda? Or they had everybody in that house has had questions about them, but everyone's just focusing on this core, and that's done on purpose, in my opinion.
I get that. And the thing is, it's like, it's not that I don't think that the people in the house had the wrong take on Jeremiah and Huda. I just don't understand why it feels like everyone was so invested in what the hell they were doing. Like, let them be wrong. Like, who cares? It just felt like it was like one, like it was just like, I don't know. It felt like the whole house had this gang up mentality. It's like, we all decided that you guys are doing and playing this game wrong, which they very fucking may well be. But what's it to you? Like, what's it to you?
Well, what was it to America? Why did America
the thing is
vote to split them up?
The thing is, the difference is, I personally loved that America voted to split us up, to split them up, because the one difference is that we have the advantage of getting to watch things that they can't completely watch. So I liked the fact that what we were doing was, intervening a bit and seeing if we could, push that. But the problem is, for me, is that I just feel like Ace and Nick specifically are a little bit too, like, they have a little bit too much power over the people in the house in general. And I understand, and I do think that they have a major influence on how people have thought about Jeremiah and Huda in general, like in the house, not America, in the house.
That's fair. I just personally have had experiences with a couple in a friend group.
And I get that. I get that. And it's annoying.
It's as much as, and the thing is, like, you don't understand, a lot of people don't understand that those couples then involve you. And when they involve you, Jeremiah and Huda involved that house in every step of the way. What did they, even when bombshells would walk in, we're the strongest couple in the house. Mm-hmm. Don't touch my man, B. Don't kid, like, to me personally, Jeremiah and Huda set the tone of this season. Just like I feel like for people who've only seen season 6, Janae set the tone of that season last year when she got rid of Coy. And that was giving, I'm actually here for love. And for me, when Jeremiah and Huda set the tone for this season, it was like, oh, this is a game we need to be playing, apparently. That is how I've been reading this season. That they've been setting the tone, and people are now being like, okay.
My whole thing is, I guess I would feel a little differently. And again, I'm being very critical of Ace and Nick, and it's not just Ace, by the way. I think Ace is like the person that,
he's loud.
To me, is the person that is a little bit more of the ringleader. But I don't get it twisted. I think that Nick is right. They're like, that's like, there's the general, and then there's, like the captain. I don't even know whoever's higher, but they're right here. Yeah, they're here, right? And I think that they picked Taylor to be on their team. And I kind of, going back to what Jaleeza was talking about, as between Ace and Jeremiah, I do, whether it be, I don't know, if there is competition. It felt like there was competition.
There is.
There.
Jeremiah said it.
Yeah, and so there, for those reasons, it had any criticism that Ace had made me feel like it wasn't necessarily completely genuine. I think he's a very smart guy, and he realized that their relationship was toxic. But I still felt like there were some ulterior motives there, besides the well-being of the villa, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Jeremiah's interviews have given like a little bit of insight into like the dynamics of the villa. And there's been a lot of interviewers that have, like Nick Viall is probably the worst interviewer I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's just gross. But Jeremiah did say at the top of the show or whatever, he and Ace came up to him because Ace and Shelly knew each other outside of the house. he wanted to couple up with Shelly, and him not taking Yalissa and just like curving her for the game was just like, he's like, oh, so you're here to play a game. And now I look bad in front of Shelly. So they've had that conversation, and he was like, and one thing that he understood about Ace is that Ace and him knew that they were never best friends, but they did get along in the house.
Mm-hmm.
It was Nick and Taylor that he was the most shocked about because they never said anything to his face. But he was like, I already knew where I stood with Ace. And that to me is where I'm like, I feel like people are falling short on, where it's like it's becoming more of a hate. I guess that's why I feel so defensive of him, because it's like I've been in his shoes before where I'm like super honest and I'm the loud one. So people then come down on me, and meanwhile the other people who just don't say anything but they say things behind their back look better. So like, I guess that's why
I would don't get defensive, because you're nothing of the sort. You would nothing. Those are
well,
people,
I don't care.
No. But the thing is, we've known you we've both known you for over 10 years. I know you, and I know how brutally honest you are and unapologetically. And most of the times you're right. You know what I mean? And even when you're not right, like, it's coming from a good place. I never feel like it's coming from a place where you're centering yourself first. And that is not how I feel about Ace.
Yeah, that's the difference, is that like
it's not how I feel about Ace.
Ace is trying to be, I think, what you are a little bit, in the sense that like he's trying to be that voice of wisdom. He's trying to like school people and let them know and be honest. But again, like, right. And you're talking to your friends when you do this. He's in a competition house with someone he met yesterday, right? Like the motives are different.
Friends, and I think now
they are. Shirla,
I mean, they're the best
I just,
you know, it's a different thing, and I think that's the difference. Like Ace wants to be that big dog, and right, he comes in again with the most followers. He has, you know, the most influence. But again, I think it comes down to the motives, not necessarily what he's saying, because he's not.
And from a person, and okay, by the way, and
he's
also
still my top two, you guys. I'm sorry.
And the thing is,
that's fine.
I'm not here to convince you of anything. This is, and I'm not really here to convince anybody of anything. I genuinely want to know what we think about these people, first impressions, how we think people are moving. And again, at the end of the day, I am taking this as entertainment. These people are put in such a situation
100%.
that I cannot definitively say anything about anybody. My opinion is only based off of what I'm seeing. We're trying to talk it out. And because we kind of have an insight on how reality TV works, specifically, we have a really good idea of how this show works, which is even more different than like if you're a Bravo TV person, you cannot watch this show. And I learned that from watching last season, because that's how I was approaching it and not getting it at first. You cannot watch this show like you're watching Bravo. It is completely different. And there's a lot, even though there is producers on that show, it's just completely different. They have a shorter amount of time. It's all up. They have to, tell a story, and they're also completely like they're having to do an accelerated version of like meeting someone that you just typically wouldn't have to do. Like how it's on what like dating show is it besides like The Bachelor? Like it's even worse than The Bachelor, where you're encouraged to like fully make out and be so sexual with people, and it's like you kind of get punished for being closed off. And this is not even this season; it's last season too.
It's
early on, like you're supposed to continuously be exploring people, even if you really like someone, and that's to me an unnatural thing to do.
Yeah, Love Island is about finding, and that's how we should be. Technically, should be dating. It's like Love Island is supposed to be finding the best connection, out there. And so, but my question is like outside of like the Ace, I'm curious on what you guys' thoughts on for Nick.
Okay, so my thoughts on Nick, I actually do like Nick. I didn't think I did. I like Nick. I don't think he's done anything that's like made me like. I think the only thing that made me like side eye him the most was the way he treated Jeremiah and Huda. Because to your point, I did think that I did kind of understand the dynamics between Jeremiah, Ace, and Nick. And to me, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe Nick voted out Jeremiah. That is like, to me, Ace did that, like, okay.
I mean, in the game, too, he picked him.
Yeah.
He was like, who should get dumped from the island? And he said Jeremiah.
I know. And that, to me, was like, I didn't love that. So that's why I kind of, like, the only way I could kind of wrap my head around it was the fact that, like, I don't know if I felt like Nick, Ace, and Taylor, because they have such a good friendship, they were like, you know what? We've tried to, like, help Jeremiah as best we can. It's very clear that he's not on our page, and, like, we want to cut him loose. And I just felt like I wish Nick was more honest with Jeremiah. It did feel like a backstab, and I didn't like that. But I feel like as far as in relationships, which is so funny because I feel like as in relationship-wise, I actually think he's doing a great job of communication.
That is my problem.
That's the problem.
No,
it's usually the opposite.
No, that's my problem with the audience, because you are like the audience. Nick gets a lot of
I feel bad. I feel like that's a bad place to be.
And this is where I get a little defensive, because Nick gets a lot of grace from the audience because he's a cute white boy.
Okay.
The way this man has been moving is, like, personally, I love it because it's entertainment. But what's frustrating is that he doesn't get as much hate as Ace does. He's made the same. Actually, Ace has not been kissed. He didn't kiss two girls within 15 minutes and then tell Belle Desha that he was going to pick her and instead pick Sierra. Ace hasn't slept with somebody and then wake up the next day and tell that girl that he's open when Andrina came in to the house. But yet, he gets so much grace. He also voted out Jeremiah. He's also been very vocal. But people are just like, yeah, I like him.
I guess the only I see your points, and they are valid, but I do think that there is a little bit of nuance with even within that. I don't know. Like, I just feel like from even with those points, like when there was the elimination between Huda and Jalen, for example, that was Ace stood behind Huda, the person that he has been trying to get out in sabotage the whole time, which was so
he voted
crazy.
To vote out the time before.
Crazy to me. But yet, here comes Nick, and he did stick with Jeremiah because it was very clear that was when the blow up with Huda really happened, and that's when I was like, okay, he's going to stick beside him. And then I noticed everybody was like, it was crazy to me. Everybody stood behind Huda in the way in which they were all going against her, and they were so angry. And that was when I was like, this is gameplay. And he only did that because, again, he's trying to save Taylor, because guess who that affects if you stand behind Jalen? Taylor. And
Taylor's his friend. That's literally
but then
Love Island.
But the thing is, stop. But no. But the thing is, then stop preaching that it's about finding genuine connections when at the same time, then why does that not apply to Alondria, who had, like, honestly, up until that point, Taylor has been doing nothing to show, like, at least from what we see, we can all speculate that we didn't see anything, but but what we do know is, and from conversations we have heard from Ace, and because right after that elimination, after they did get Jalen out, the first thing Ace says to Taylor is like, see, look what happened. Like, you know, or I think it was after that. I might be mixing up. But I remember there was one point where Ace was like to Taylor, like, you have to be careful because, like, that, like, he could have, like, stolen your girl. Like, I feel like he is trying to keep Taylor here so hard, and knowing that he does not really like Alondria like that.
I mean, fair. That is
so. It's like
fair,
I just feel like his whole way of going about Love Island and his rules of how we should be playing changes based upon player. And that makes me feel like that's because it's ultimately the true person that he's worried about is him. So he is shifting what makes sense based upon what ultimately works for him.
I mean, I think Nick does the same thing, in my personal opinion. But I think for me, like Ace had said, I got rid of Jalen because Jalen did nothing to try to keep Alondra. Like, he literally Jalen was like, I got voted together with Alondria, and every time we heard Jalen talk to Alondria, it was, can I get a kiss? And she hates physical. So it's
I mean, I actually, I know she said, I don't think she hates physical. I think she said she was a slow burner.
She said people are, well, she said people
like when
are
they
constantly
lead with the physical.
the physical because of my body, and so that turns me off.
Yeah,
so
but let's be real. At the end of the day, Ace didn't, that wasn't.
I'm just saying, this is what listen, the realest people I
because
know
at the
are
end,
LA people.
He wasn't trying.
Born and raised LA people.
Yeah, but he wasn't trying to risk Alondria getting down and having to vote between Jalen and Taylor. Even if she was going to pick Taylor again in the future, you never know what happens.
He's a bombshell. He didn't have the opportunity to have a lot of time to be able to explore other people, whereas Taylor had so much more time. And it seemed like he only ramped up his affection towards Alondria, who, by the way, was like, you can touch me. You can do. She had to literally spell it out for this man.
Yeah,
and it almost felt like
really likes him, you guys.
Yes. I know. That's
the
question. Does he like her?
That's my problem.
I get that, but if your friend is telling you, I really like this person, and unfortunately, Jalen was only there for Alondria, and your friend is like, I really like this, even if you were like, this person is not right for you, it won't click.
No, I understand. The thing is, my criticism has zero to do with Alondria. My criticism is for the way in which I believe Ace knows that Taylor does not like Alondria, but because he's putting his friendship with Taylor first, which is fine. The thing is, I'm not necessarily saying that that's a bad way to be. What is irritating to me about Ace is that he preaches all these different things and Huda's not being authentic, all these different things. And it's but I don't think Taylor is either, in the sense of I don't think he likes Alondria romantically. I'm not saying he doesn't like Alondria as a friend, but it's unfair because they are making her feel like that's the case. Because look at poor Alondria didn't pretty much close herself off in a sense when it came to Casa Amor and almost got her ass sent home because of it. Thank God for the twist. Yeah. Because and then look at Taylor. But the moment Taylor got two other options, which is fine. To be honest, he wasn't thinking about Alondria any fucking more.
I mean, yes, of course. But my thing is Alondria was not able to, and again, we're not blaming Alondria at all. It's just to me, this is the dynamics that we're seeing. Out of all the people that were currently there in the villa, Alondria did not like Jalen. And Jalen
you didn't think that she liked Jalen at all?
She did not like Jalen whatsoever.
Do you think that, Jaleeza?
I think she could have had he approached her differently.
Okay.
I think had he not been quite so forward, they could have gotten there, but I think he gave her the ick. And she does feel very much like a one woman or a one-man woman, which I don't know if you're the type, if that's the right type of personality to be on Love Island, because you do kind of have to mingle.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I really wish there would have just been someone in Casa who just swept her off her feet respectfully.
I don't even think that would have happened. She's so wrapped up in Taylor.
And and so she's gonna end up getting hurt because for him, and
even her seeing Taylor with another woman, and the fact that he basically somersaulted over her head to hug Nick when he saw that he got back. It's right now.
Moment,
it's one of those. But it's one of those things of some of us have been there before, or some of us have had a friend where it just is not. She's everything that Taylor does. She had said when they had a little dinner that she did, that he does a lot for her, but it's we haven't seen it, but okay, cool. But everything that she's noticing from Taylor, she's thinking it's building on something new, because it's he's not leading with sex is because he's not attracted to her. But Taylor keeps saying that that's my dog, we're friends first, and there is something there. And so when you're hearing that, it's okay, maybe, but we see everything.
I don't. Yeah,
I agree.
I think Alondria. It's for the information she has and everything. I feel like she's tried so hard to like to figure out if it's a friend thing. And every time I feel like she's like, okay, maybe I like don't invest so much time and maybe be a little bit more open. I feel like they have like the boys, and I'm just gonna say the boys have centered Taylor so much at the expense of Alondria, and I almost feel like she's been tricked into thinking one thing is happening and that is not happening. I've wished that we as America voting and the people in the House would have stopped being so fixated on a relationship that was going to blow up on its own anyway, which is Jeremiah Huda, and had focused on making sure Alondria, who really, I believe, could have had opportunities to find more connections. And to your point, Jaleeza, I do think that like she is just going to be a type of person that once she does, she's going to try to genuinely invest with still trying to, get to know people, not being closed off, but like, she's going to try to, for the most part, invest in the person she's with. And I just feel like she didn't get all the information. And I wish America of us would give her more of that information.
I felt like he was giving her a lot of information and she didn't want to see it, in my opinion, personally.
I think she did see it. And then you got freaking Nick and Ace coaching on him on how to manipulate her. Like, you need to do this. You need to start bringing her this and start doing it. But he doesn't want to do that.
When do you
Well, he did the little dance lesson thing. Like,
who told him to do that?
But even not that, they are literally in bed together. Like she talks about how he's like cuddling her and all that stuff. So it's like, we're so focused on what they're showing us from dates and stuff. That's just fun shit. Whatever. Even if you force somebody to do that, that still doesn't tell you that someone likes you. I think Alondria, what I've noticed, she's less about big displays of affection and she's more about the little things. And so if you're cuddling her in bed and you're chatting with her in bed and you're like having we're just homies conversations, she's thinking of that like he's different. And that is the trap that she has fallen into. It has nothing to do with the big in my opinion.
I don't think we're saying that because he hasn't done anything big for her. So no one's saying that. That's what we're saying. Like, he gives her just enough.
Right.
Well, Pia was saying that they're all organizing and like making her fall into a trap. But in my opinion,
like, because they're not, because
it's a talking. It's literally
doing that for Shelly. Like, he's the one doing all the big things, but that's exactly what we're saying. Like, he's not doing any of those big things. It's just the little things.
But when he does do it, it's not from him doing it. It's from other people saying, this is what you should do. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, it feels like you have like other people being like, to secure her, you should be doing this, and it's not coming from him genuinely, and that's what I don't like. And it's because I don't think he wants to do those things.
I agree with you, but I'm saying that doesn't pull her in. What pulls her in is the things that people are not telling him to do, is the little things of the chatter in bed and hanging out with her and talking to her like they're homies. That
I disagree with that, because she did say at one of the breakfasts early on, like, it was probably like a week in when they were talking, she was like, we keep saying we have this great connection, and because they do with the talking and all, to your point, yes, all of that. But then she was like, I'm starting to now look at the other couples, and it feels like what we say doesn't match how we act toward each other. So I do think that at a certain point, like in the beginning, yes, like the first week, she was cool with that. But when we got to week 2 and we're about to be in week 3, nothing is. I feel like she was like, okay, now things should be starting to get a little bit more like grandiose, in a sense. Like, I'm not saying huge things, but like, okay, like she literally says in conversation, you can put your hand on this. Like, she's having to walk him through on like stuff, which is, and it seems as if he doesn't want to do it, because I don't think he likes her.
I
wanted to, he would.
Does, exactly. He does. Obviously, that we're seeing Clark.
Yeah, he doesn't need to be taught to put his hand on her thigh.
No, I personally just think, I agree with you guys. He does not like her, and he never did. Yeah. My thing is with Alondria is that there was nobody else that she wanted.
No,
she was honed in on Taylor since the beginning, and she has this dream of being with her cowboy. Even when a Southern man came in, you can absolutely tell that this lady did not, and she only gave it a shot because America put them together. And it's the same thing with this whole Nick thing, is because she's being forced into something. And now she's just like, I need to try to be open. But she can't. She literally is like, this is my focus. And that's Taylor. And it doesn't matter what that man does. She is like, that's my cowboy.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like also too, it's like, I kind of felt bad for, let's talk about like minor characters who sometimes you forget about. Hannah and Charlie.
I didn't feel bad for Hannah.
Well, everybody did. And again, it's like, poor Hannah. It's again, like the house keeps talking about Huda, Jeremiah, all these different things, and they keep changing the goddamn rules. Poor Hannah is playing the game according to everybody goddamn rules. She liked Charlie. She has been open. She did the thing. But yes, you know what? She was like, you know what? But Charlie's Charlieing. I like Charlie. Yesterday, whatever, they had a little moment, but they had gotten past it. They had one little hiccup. And then it was very clear she wanted to still be with him. And what did they do? They saved Taylor. For what? Why?
Because it's Friendship Island, just like Janae was saved last year.
And that's fine. It's fine. It's just like, stop. But the thing is, I just don't like that they gaslight me about that. Because last year, they said, that is my fucking friend, and I am going to fucking save them. And I'm like, hell yeah, I would too. Stop lying to me, though. I don't like you.
But we don't hear, but that's my thing is like, we're not here. And this is where I get on productions. Like, when things don't make sense, I'm like, I want to hear the deliberation.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually we do get more of that.
Exactly. Why aren't they showing us the deliberation? Like, how do we know? Like, to me, when Hannah left and not one tear was shed, I was like, oh, nobody like that. Because the part of it is still, at the end of the day, it's to find love, but you also have to make friends and connections. And Hannah went to be, like, even that morning, Hannah was like, I like Pepe, but I miss Charlie. And people are like, well, girl, we can send you home to him. Y'all could be a whole couple. But I get what you're saying.
But then it's like, you guys made her be with Pepe. She didn't pick Pepe.
Yeah,
that was she cried so hard. Like, at the end of the day, it's kind of like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Like, at this point, she had to try to give it a genuine shot.
Yeah,
Charlie wasn't fucking there anymore.
Who picked her with Pepe? America.
It all comes
down to that vote. But they could have voted, right? They had the opportunity to get rid of Huda then, right? Like, if they were so bothered by Jeremiah and Huda, they had the opportunity. So
I get you, but to me, I'm just like, none of this makes sense because we don't have a lot of the information. Like, it's just
I think two things can be true at the same time. Production.
Yeah, and again, I think part of it. I think. Yeah,
I feel like I voted.
I think there's a production element, but I also think, right, like, part of it doesn't make sense is a whole new group of people. We don't know these people. We don't know how they operate. We're not. It's not like Housewife. It's not like Summer House where we have kind of gotten to understand them. So there's also that, because yes, there's production, but there's also, these are a bunch of 20-year-olds playing games.
Yeah,
too.
For sure.
So, like, they're also making it a different scenario where it's like, what are you guys doing here?
Yes.
I personally would have, in that vote, I honestly, Amaya, out of the two, Amaya could have gone home. But I kind of agree with the Hannah thing. Like, Iris was put in such a difficult position to where America voted her with somebody that, like, yeah, she had a connection with, but she probably wouldn't have picked. So she's gotten a short end of the stick. And Amaya, I think between the two of them, Amaya claimed to have been getting closer with Austin, who's an OG. and then she just also had a short end of this. There's something about her.
Let's go back to this. This is why, again, I go back to, I think two things can be true at the same time. I just feel like Ace is a little bit too much in everybody's business, because what is the first thing he does? He goes up to Shelly and said, why the hell did you guys do that? Amaya should have been the person to go. And I actually don't fucking like the way he was treating Amaya, to be real. I didn't like that. I'm going to be real about that. That's when I really started to look at his ass sideways, because you can, I absolutely understand setting boundaries with people. Mm-hmm. But again, this is another example of how he's saying, like, he doesn't like to be touched. He doesn't want to be called babe. He doesn't want all this other yada, yada, yada. That's fucking fine. But then you licking shit off of Shelly's titty So which one the fuck is it?
He also had the same conversation with Shelly, too. He also had the same conversation,
he did,
boundary,
but he did. But the thing is, he approached it like Amaya was some fucking monster. And then the thing is, and then as soon as Amaya like spoke up for herself, it's like, hey, wait, like you're acting as if like me saying this is making me like some type of fucking whore or a crazy bitch. And then he like, and then it felt like then the whole house, then all of a sudden the whole house is like, she's crazy. Did you not notice that? Like all of a sudden, all the guys are treating her.
She also did yell at Shelly. Come on.
No, I'm not saying that that's not. The thing is, I am not saying that she's not a hothead, but also I could understand a perspective of, okay, like I'm coupled up with Ace, and then he's treating me a certain way, acting like I'm being like weird for like wanting to actually like, this is how I show affection, but yet like, you know, you telling me you don't want to be touched, or it does feel like it. I could understand it feeling like she was being used in a game because she's the person kind of, you know what I mean? And her trying to figure it out, and her not quite knowing if what Shelly's intentions were. I don't think do I think that she handled the conversation with Shelly fairly? Absolutely not. But has she approached conversations like that on a regular basis, even with Shelly or anybody else? No, I think people are allowed to have made a mistake in the way, and she was very emotional, and I think that's coming off of feeling, I think, gaslit from Ace.
She literally and taking it out and never told Shelly. And she also watched tapes, and she knew who Shelly was interested in.
No,
so
I understand.
I get no sympathy for that.
For the way that she was being treated.
I feel like I agree with you in terms of like how Ace, you are allowed to communicate your boundaries.
Correct.
But there are ways of like you can talk to people. And that is where you need to correct yourself on how you speak those boundaries to people, and he has a right to be like, listen, I don't know you. I just met you yesterday, and I'm not going to cuddle you. I don't like the babe stuff. It takes me a while to get there.
Right.
That's perfectly fine.
I think that was completely fair.
That's how you communicate it. And again, it's like he didn't communicate that correctly. But what is also find it very interesting is Austin had the same exact feedback, because she has a tendency, and it seems like we are missing some things, where she has a tendency that the moment that you're couple up, it's we're married, I'm jumping on your lap, I'm kissing you. And yet Austin received zero backlash because he didn't say anything to her, and he was talking about her behind her back.
The thing is, I will say this. I think, because Austin is funny enough that I was actually surprised by them and him even giving her a shot, because he was one of the first people to be like, she scares me. Again, I think it was that boy mentality. Ace was like, she's crazy, and all the boys were like, she's crazy.
So much stuff. On
no,
I'm
not. I'm not.
Grown men.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So I was actually very shocked. I felt like Austin. We haven't really spoken about Austin at all yet, but I felt like Austin only got with Amaya because there literally was no one else showing any interest in him. And that wasn't fair to her, because she's sitting here thinking that he likes her, and that let's talk about Austin. I too don't think it's very fucking fair on Amaya's. I feel for Amaya's. Like, the thing is, here for me, that was how I felt. Out of everybody, I'm going to tell you this, I'm on Amaya's side, because whether you like if that she's too much or whatever, I think both men approached the situation in the wrong way. I didn't like how I don't like how Ace made her look like she's some crazy bitch. And yes, does she have moments of that? Sure. Sure. But then also, I didn't like how Austin, he lets her do that, and I feel like she asked because she hear what Ace said about like that, and maybe she didn't know that that's what she does, and I think she does have a little self-awareness, and I feel like I'm here even when she was talking to some of the bombshells and Casa Amor, she's like, hey, like, just tell me. Like, please. So I think
it's her first question now every time. It's like, so what are your boundaries?
Like she's desperately
and then also let people talk.
Yeah, like, I feel like she's desperately trying to work on some of the things that she's probably finding out about herself. And that is where I feel I'm giving her so much empathy because it's like, oh, damn. I feel like she really wants to find someone. And I feel bad that it's not working out for her, but I also feel bad on, like, it's not working out for her because one person is making her to a group of people seem like a certain way and not like for example, Amaya had to tell, I think it was Nick, she was like, well, one of the reasons I got really irritated with him is because he just finished telling me you don't like cuddling, touching, or anything like that. And then I see him do it to Shelly and I said, you want to say goodnight to me? And you said, I respectfully no, like, that's mean. Like, well, I have feelings.
I'm like, I'm sorry. They had a fight. And like, I feel like for me, I agree with you where when it comes to Amaya and the two boys, like that situation, like both boys handled it poorly. But that doesn't mean we need to continue to rake both of the, I mean, well, Austin's an actual racist. So I guess we can probably rake him over the coals. But like, everybody.
Do we want to elaborate more on that? Because again, I don't really know too much. I know a tiny bit, and if people don't, because not everybody watches the show and then goes on social media. So we know what you're referring to. Let's talk about that a little bit.
The big thing is like, of course, you know, when people get on these shows, people do deep dives, and so someone did a deep dive into his TikTok. Followings is like, it happens. People follow people and assume it, whatever. But it was his retweets of a lot of Trump ideology, specifically when Trump was talking about Haitians, and Shelly is Haitian. So he has a lot of those retweets and reposts. And it was just like, clearly he keeps saying like, oh, I like Shelly. And we're just like, sure. And then the moment Amaya tells him that her family's immigrants, all of a sudden, it's like, I don't want to talk to her anymore.
Interesting.
Like that's when he started to change because reminder, and this is where my thing is with Amaya and where I get frustrated when we, you know, in our Bravo shows, I hate when you have an issue with a man and you take it out on the woman. And like, that is where my issue stems with Amaya is that, yes, her and Shelly have blown over, like, because Shelly came up to her and was just like, this is what it is. But Amaya was calling Shelly, saying that she was a snake moving funny, when Amaya has yet to, from what we've seen, tell Shelly that she made out with Austin, which is Shelly's coupled up with Austin at the time. So I'm just like, girl, that to me is like where I'm like, I give pause because you calling her sneaky. Yell at Ace all you want to. Yell at, and she didn't even yell at Austin, but yell at Austin all you want to. But when you're yelling at Shelly, because she's living her experience, that is where I have a problem with her. But in Austin, and back to Austin being racist. But that's why I think Austin backed off on her when she started talking about her immigrant family.
I mean, I definitely think that would definitely, because I had seen only a sliver that he possibly was a Trump supporter. So they're already, I was very befuddled when it seemed like every single person that he was either coupled up with or seemingly like pursuing what's the ideal, Black people, women of color, whatever you want to call it.
In the USA, you know how much we love our Black people.
And with a family history of not being from America, it was just, I was Confucius about it.
Yeah.
So that you want to talk about things not making sense? I was like, if I was just watching the show, not knowing any of the things like that you were telling me, I didn't do a deep dive on Austin. I just had an idea that he was a Trump supporter. I didn't really look into it. So I knew that you were going to come in clutch with filling it in and like getting us, you know, more stuff, and to know that he's like retweeting things like ideology and stuff like that. I like, if I was just watching the show, he does not.
Charming.
It's not about just. It's not even about just being charming. It's just like he's not like. At least he's being strategic. He's not saying anything that would lead me to believe that is his values, if that makes sense. He's not on the show, not saying it hasn't happened.
Which is done on purpose.
That's what I'm saying. I have fucking no idea. But if I was just watching the show with no context outside of that, then I wouldn't fucking know. Like, I would have just taken it as Austin. I just don't think he's attracted to. I think the thing is because I actually think he did like Shelly, so that was confusing me.
But then he said he wasn't like when that other girl came in. He was like, there was nobody here that I've ever wanted to go after. That's what he said to Grayson.
Go after, because I feel like the way, like I don't remember, like I just feel like the way he spoke about Shelly. Like I feel like by the way, Shelly is
Shelly's
Leah.
beautiful.
Everybody loves Shelly.
Shelly is the Leah of this season. For sure. Every single person.
She's more Janae.
I only say she's.
People weren't fighting over Janae
no one was
the way
fighting
they
over
should have
Janae.
been. They should have been fighting over Janae, but
I'm saying as far as like everybody wanting to be with, like she is the it person of this season, and that's what I'm basing it off of.
Yeah, and so sweet.
Like she has it. She is the out of the girls, she is the star of the show, and that is what it is.
Yeah.
And so that and it's not to say that Janae, not Janae. Janae.
Yeah, Janae.
Not to say, Janae, Janae, Leah, and who's the other one?
Serena.
Serena. Those three had it, and I think, I just feel like that was kind of what it was being set up to be, your point, like archetypes.
Yeah,
that is what they were doing, and what I kind of, because it makes sense, like producers can see it, like that is what is her fucking name? I just like forgot everybody's names. So many names. No, like this season. Shelly, Alondria,
and Huda.
And Huda was supposed to be, but
might be stealing that
but she got replaced by Sierra.
Sierra did steal it, but it was supposed to be Huda, but Huda turned out to be emotionally unstable. And
they're giving her the redemption arc now, edit. Yeah. So she's gonna be coming back.
Right. And the thing is, I'm very we haven't even really got into the whole Huda of it for the most part. I'm very I think I'm gonna just say this blanketly. Huda centers herself into way too much. No one can have a goddamn moment. No one can have a goddamn moment before she's bawling when Alondria gets sent home. I'm like, you need to stop crying.
First of all, that's
Alondria
so mean
can't even
of the producers. They sending her home people were in I was in shambles when I thought Alondria
we're trying to tell a story here, Shirla.
I get that, but think about it, and we know this as women of color, that when your person leaves a show it feels in so much of a white space, it that could have crushed Shelly. That could have crushed her. And
why are we talking about Shelly?
Because Alondria leaving.
No, I know.
Time. But I'm saying why did they do that? But when you were talking about Huda crying, that's what my thought about it. I was like, that's crazy.
And that's a good point, because freaking Shelly was crying, and I did feel bad for Shelly because that was her actual friend. That's why. But my point is but no one got to really grieve because everybody did consoling fucking Huda. So to be honest with you, I understand.
Huda fell to her knees.
I felt to her. She said, "Oh my God." She's like that person at a funeral when
who throws herself.
Take me, Jesus.
Throw herself on the casket.
So
she probably would have jumped to the villa.
So I feel like I want to be very clear. It's not that I like Huda per se, or I agree with how she's acted in the villa. It's just I hate when we take it too far as viewers. Fair. And I even think in the house, and we gang up, they were kind of ganging up on her at a point where it was okay, guys, is Jeremiah and Huda toxic? Yes. But aren't you kind of glad that none of you guys have to deal with it? Let them fucking implode.
They were so over it. I'm sorry.
Let them let them implode.
But they didn't let them implode because America voted them to implode.
Yeah,
America said light that fuse.
Yes, yeah, and I agree with America doing that. I just don't agree with America. Huda is clearly emotionally unstable, whether we find it annoying or not, and she really is. And we it's too much what people are saying, and that I can't even criticize her crash outs because I'm so concerned this girl is going to get her phone back and see all the stuff and like do something crazy.
I can criticize her behavior because like you calling people out of their names is just uncalled for. Like that is something
but why did we enjoy it when Leah and Serena did?
I did not. And what are you talking about? I did not. I am not a big fan. I personally, because I don't call people out of their names. So I'm not a big fan.
You are very good at that.
Yeah, like I'd be like,
I'm not.
Listen, girl, listen, bitch. Let's not be dumb bitches. But people who I don't know, like especially a man, I do not call men bitches. I just don't. That's just not in my vocabulary. I just don't do it. And I personally am like, okay, let's reel it back in now. Because it's like, but I also don't know what these people are going through. I have my phone. I'm not on Love Island. I'm not in a house with strangers and like somebody that you're dating and you're watching him date somebody else or you're getting videos of him cheating on you. So I'm like, I can understand you having moments that are not your best self. Because I guess the reason why I understand these people a little bit more, because to me, Love Island has always been like Big Brother to me, very similar in how the game format is. And so people, they also receive a lot of death threats. So I'm just like very sensitive. So like when I listen to you guys in terms of like the feedback that you guys have on like certain people, but I start to see and hear the narrative that is being pushed and it's going on multiple platforms. And that is what's creating the hate. So for this season, it's Huda and Ace. If you make content for either one of those two, it takes off. And it's actually the way my TikTok and Twitter is just only them. And it's actually and I feel so bad for their family and their friends that people are sending them death threats. And when they get out, this is a show.
Yeah.
It's an edited show. And you have to understand that it's being painted a certain way. So your feelings are being, set to 100 on purpose.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
So it's like, and when you start to, I'm even listening to the interviewers who are then trying, like even when the people who are on the island come out and say, this is why I asked you what your feelings are with Nick. When they come out and they said, Nick to me, some people were like, there wasn't really a ringleader, but like Ace was a ringleader, but he was like planning dates for Shelly. But Nick, that one's, and then the interviewer switches it up and be like, actually, we're thinking it's Ace. That to me is like, it feels icky. So that's why I personally, like, I don't want people to think like, oh my God, they're like, I mean, we have debates all the time, but like, I'm not out here, you guys know me, I don't be out here defending no man. I get But like, I just am starting to see the narrative being pushed. And like, it's just shocking to me how Huda and Ace, the two people of color, are getting the most hate when Nick is right there.
And right there. Yeah. Absolutely. And I 100% agree with you on that. And like the way that these people are being blasted online is disgusting. So uncalled for. And like, let's be real. Like so many of us would not have the courage, the confidence to be in that situation. Let alone, like,
we don't know how we would act.
I would never. I quite literally think about, I would not, my feelings would get hurt all the time.
Yeah. Think about your lowest moments you've ever had with friends. And if that was
let's not ruin it because, like, right, people, next year's contestants are seeing what's online. And so what's going to happen is people are going to go on, they're going to start being fake. They're not going to start showing their real lives or who they are. Or people just aren't going to be on the show. And then we're going to be complaining because the show is boring because people don't want their family to receive death threats.
Yes, exactly.
So like, as much as like, whoever's I think Nick Taylor and Ace are all as bad as each other. I mean,
I agree with that.
Like,
I do think that there's naturally
Nick
a leader within that, but I think they all play a role.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that can be true. And we can be annoyed by it. And like, obviously we're on a podcast, but like talk about it as a group of friends, but like keep it out of their comment section. keep it out of
I'm not
their
going to
family
go
inboxes.
to his
Like,
it's like
have that
it's the
conversation
thing
with your friends and move on.
it's a thing about it's also what I'm noticing is how they describe the two. So like we have all agreed that like Nick, Taylor, and Ace very similar in terms of just like depending on who goes, they have like the same opinions on like they feel like this shouldn't be done this way or that shouldn't be done this way. And they have the majority, and so that's what they're doing. But it's the descriptions that they say of Ace versus Nick. All of a sudden it's Ace is this cruel, evil man and Nick is just like, but he's so sweet and it's fine. And it's like that is so America. And I see it and it was so frustrating because I love Big Brother and I see it so much on Big Brother. That white male character gets away with so much. And yet he doesn't get flack for literally sleeping with someone and then telling her that he's now open the next day, or kissing two people within 15 minutes, or voting his best friend out of the house, or talking about everybody in that villa, and now kissing on Alondria, who is best friends with his girlfriend, and also, even though Taylor didn't like her, still one of your best friend's old girl. And yet everyone's like, oh my God, I can't wait to vote for them to get 100K. A narrative's being pushed.
I definitely see that, and I definitely think that I am glad that you're bringing out that perspective, because overall, I think that that's something that happens across the board in reality television, where I feel like people of color tend to get a really unfair critique, and it oftentimes is beyond the critique that is what I feel like me and Jaleeza are critiquing. So it's like for you, it's like it's hard to even like and I think it's more important to talk about that aspect because it is such an important one, and that it happens more oftentimes than not. I think that for me, I'm isolating it based legitimately on like what I am privy to seeing, to not to say again, like I think that we're very much saying that we're like, we know producers produce and editors edit, and we could be getting fed a completely chopped and screwed version, but that is all I have right now.
Correct.
And so far, and the thing is, it's not unknown to me that I do see some things that Nick has done and that didn't sit right for me, that he did specifically to Jeremiah. And I do, and typically I would feel a way in which, like, you just had sex with your girl, Sierra, and then you're about to like, but the thing is, I guess this is where the problem, this is why I probably don't feel as like upset by it or feel like it is any sort of way, is the fact that I do feel like he did talk to Sierra and like, and they both did say and agree that they were going to be open. So it did feel like he communicated more than I feel like. So for example, Aaron last year, I couldn't stand Aaron because I felt like that man, I literally hated him so much. And I was very vocal. And I actually regret how I did go about my content with Aaron, because I know that he like really was affected by like a lot of the negative content. And I actually really do regret how I approached that. And I won't do that again. Because at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, because like it's not my business. It's a fucking like
it's a show.
It's a show.
We didn't like the actions. It's okay.
Yeah, like he didn't do anything to warrant the way we all kind of came at him, and myself included, and I won't do that again. It doesn't mean that I couldn't have been critical. I could have been critical in a better way, and I'm learning from that. And that's not me. But by the way, it doesn't mean I'm not going to call people a bitch, because bitch don't mean nothing to me when I say that.
But when 1 million people are calling you bitches,
that's true.
Different.
But it does. I even like, yes. But the thing is, I feel like sometimes my bitches are literally meant in a comical way, and sometimes it depends.
But we know you.
But yes, you know me. But also, I do feel like when I was making my content about Aaron specifically, I was being really mean, like I didn't I was because I did not like him. But I forget
accountability.
I am taking accountability. I didn't. And I think that sometimes, because even though they're secluded and we are not, we are also watching a show in a way that you don't typically watch shows. Like, we are like almost in our own isolation when the show is on, and we're watching it 5 days a week. We're also like kind of corrupting our normal moral compasses to fit what Love Island is, and I think we all can get caught up in it. And it's a healthy reminder that and I'm glad that they're taking a little bit more steps than they did in previous seasons of reminding us we need to take a fucking breath.
Yeah,
these are
touch
people.
grass.
Touch grass.
Yeah.
These are people. And unless they're doing something crazy like abuse, racism, or any of those things, I don't care if they backstab people. That's even different because that's his wife. These people just met each other. No one really owes anybody anything at the end of the day. And even if they did cheat or do whatever, it's still like that's not
part of
enough.
The show.
Right.
It's literally
so
part of
I
the
do
show.
I do want to, say
to the
that.
Nick thing?
Yeah, then but for the Nick thing, I guess I'm looking at it from a perspective of I didn't feel like the way he went about doing some of the things that I typically wouldn't like from a man. I have to be like, okay, well, they're still both saying and both communicating that they're open. She is still exploring people, and she also, like, you know what I mean? So I feel like the situation is different, whereas, like, last year, Erin did, like, fucking, what's her name? Girl, closed herself off and thought that that's what, and they kind of, and he would say that he would do something bad, then he would say something like, I love you, to get her back, and then go do something bad. So that to me was like what I feel like you're like not that you're saying that, but that's like the boat I feel like you're putting Nick in, and I think it's a little different.
No, I'm not. I've never put Nick in the Erin boat.
No, I'm not saying you literally are, but like when like even though on paper they're kind of like dissimilar things, it's not completely similar to me in the sense of like I don't know. I just feel like he's still like I feel like he didn't do it in a completely disrespectful way, even though like it kind of sounds disrespectful on paper.
It is disrespectful because of the way that he communicated with her. Fair. But then after, he was trying to make excuses of like, she's clearly, when he had the first talk with her, after they had the first talk with her, and because he didn't talk with her later about like, oh, we're just going to, he was the one that said we're open. So after because like it was clear that Sierra saw that bombshell and was like, we need to be closer. And so they got closer. And the next day he talks about being open, fine. And then she's upset. And immediately he's like, I don't really like her attitude. And he's just like dismissing how and that's when he has that talk with Ace. And Ace is like, well, you did just have sex with her. So it's going to be a little bit, especially when you do it in here, it's going to be stronger.
Yeah.
And he was ready to write Sierra off at that moment because he wanted to get to know the bombshell. And that's why another thing is like, I really want to know that discussion because outside when they voted out Jeremiah, because outside of the America vote, I really think that Nick wanted to get rid of Jeremiah so he can get closer to that bombshell.
He did.
Because he wanted to.
Iris?
No, Andrina.
Andrina.
Yes.
Yes.
Because after he was just like, Jeremiah's gone,
yes.
And now we need to open and explore. And
I agree. I agree with that.
And
I agree. I think that's a great point. Thank you for circling back because I almost forgot about that.
And the same thing with Huda with Hannah. I think Huda wanted to get Hannah out the way so she could talk to Pepe. I personally think
I agree with that. I agree with that too.
Yeah.
100% agree with it. I 100% agree with it. I just think that unfortunately, they are, again, don't really love Huda. I think she is selfish and she does center herself. But my only problem is I hate piling on people that are already piling on her.
Oh, fair.
So like to your point, you're like, fair. I can be, we are and should be critical of her. And I'm glad we're pointing it out because I think that had we not had the whole house and then like also all of the other stuff that I know that people are saying about Huda, I could just like really focus on like some of the moves. Like I didn't love that she talked to Pepe without talking to Hannah, especially since Hannah was always the first person. So like, all of these things. Like, you know what I mean? And that's why I said, let's go back to Hannah. I was like, how? It's so unfair that Hannah got, like, fucked over, like, every fucking which way. And it seemed like she was playing the game exactly like how everybody wanted her to play, but still got really fucked. And I'm, like, not okay with that. Actually, justice for Hannah. Like,
I don't know.
She didn't do anything.
I agree, but out of the three,
I mean, was she entertaining? Was she boring? Did I forget she was there half the time? Sure. But I'm just
who
saying,
would you guys would have voted off out of the three?
Iris isn't that entertaining either. So, like,
that's what I'm saying. I would have voted off Iris.
I wouldn't have voted off Iris because Iris literally got screwed by America.
Iris just got here. But, like, the thing is, Iris just got here.
If it's Rhode Island.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. What are the fucking rules? Hannah was here longer. She was nice to everybody. She was supportive to everybody, and she was playing the goddamn game, and Iris still got that shit.
Nobody shed one tear for Hannah when she
Hannah shed a
that means she was not friends with anybody but Amaya. Like, nobody shed one tear for her or Jeremiah. Even Charlie they were sad for. Pepe cried more for Nick than he did for Hannah.
Listen.
And you try to tell me they had a really strong...
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Am I saying I miss Hannah? No, I didn't. For half the time I forgot she was there.
No, I did. Guys.
But I mean, but in retrospect, I'm like, damn, that sucks. And like, especially after seeing her cry, it's like, she's like, and the thing is, but then Shirla, let's play devil's advocate. We keep on talking about things that we don't see and things that we edit out. How the hell do we know if Hannah had any relationships with any of those people? She is quite literally boring, and they probably cut it.
Yeah, but no one's. I'm just looking at people not crying for her. I didn't even see a droplet of a tear. The way
because who was that's okay.
People cried for Charlie. People cried
no,
for
but
Bella.
but the thing is, it's because I feel like they have a better friendship with for Huda, as crazy as she is.
Yeah,
as crazy as
Huda
is, and that only viable option for Huda was Pepe.
Oh,
and that's and they did the same thing last year when it came to Liv and when it came to
always Liv.
You know what I mean?
Rob.
They were breaking up people to help their friends. And that is fine. It's just that the fact I feel like the girl, like, at least they were letting us see it more last year. Everybody was more transparent about it. And I can get with it if we're transparent.
But and you're
don't lie to me. Lie to everybody but me.
But that's the thing. Why is it that we're not hearing the deliberation? If you would have heard the deliberation, then you would be like, okay, someone's standing on business, someone's not. But we are not hearing that. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Like, in my mind, I'm like, are they saving it for movie night? Because, like, I'm confused. Because it's like, what are they going to show for movie night? Like, they can't just go in on Huda.
At this point, it doesn't matter. Because
exactly.
There's no serious couple. Again, like, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out after Casa. And also, like, I'm assuming there's going to be, like, a nice big slashing happening.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way they can have
everybody comes back to the villa.
But, like, yeah, like, same thing. Like, them coming back to the villa is going to be like, okay, cool, you're in a new couple for most of them. Movie night, it's going to be like, okay, you did that. Great. Like, it's all very low stakes at this point.
It is low stakes. I keep on wondering.
The island.
Yeah, like, I feel like, I know they kind of said this a lot last season, like Friendship Island. And I just felt like there was a lot less Friendship Island last season in the sense of, like, there was so many friendships, but there was so many clear connections. And even potential connections, like, you know what I mean? I feel so, like, not invested in anybody that it's like, so to me, now I'm looking for why. And the funny thing is, last year, and I had other people who watched the show, who have been watching the show, tell me, because, like, for me as a first time viewer last year, I'm going in thinking, absolutely everybody's here to just win some fucking money and no one is legitimately coming here for love. And it really took me a long time to grasp that could be a possibility. And so now I'm coming in here like everybody's looking for love and not men. And now I'm not feeling that way.
No. But it also goes back to what Jaleeza was saying when it comes to audience feedback. Because yes, there was top people, specifically the three girls, that receive nothing but love. But, like, there was a point that the audience truly hated Serena. like,
yes,
truly hated Serena. There was a point where people dug into Kenny's past and called him all types of Trump supporter. There was a point where, I mean, Connor was horrible, so that he got the backlash. Liv also, when she went against Leah. And so people are still seeing audience feedback. And to Jaleesa's point, this is where we get into, and this is what happened to UK. Once they start people receiving a ton of hate, Andrea was one of them that got a lot of hate last year, whether you agree with her or not and thought it was funny, and whether she spoke or not, it still doesn't give people the right to go into their messages and things like that. So now you have people coming in having a little bit of a wall up, and it doesn't feel authentic. And to me, the editing has failed a lot of them, because we get no conversations between these couples. It's always about like hippos and butterflies. Or
okay, I did find that conversation about hippos interesting, because I also had private conversations about hippos, and people need to know about hippos.
I get that,
very
but
dangerous.
we need to have conversations of like, you know, when these couples get together. Like, for example, this is one of the things that I felt like was missing, is that like there's been the theory, the storyline that they want for Ace and Shelley is the invisible string theory, that they've met outside and then they via faith, even though they went through all of everybody's DMs, that they meet on the show and that forces are pulling them apart, and then they eventually will get back together.
Absolutely.
My thing is that night when they coupled up, finally, all of a sudden, Austin and Amaya decide to have a conversation prior. So prior to the recoupling. That tells me that Shelley and Ace had a conversation and it was like, we need to lock in. Why didn't we see that? Why didn't we see that?
I mean, I agree. I'm on your.
I agree with you. I'm not trying to. I understand.
No.
I just feel like they're doing us a disservice.
They are.
Even the friendships. Like Shelley was calling Taylor in the beginning like best friend, and we were like,
yes.
We at first didn't really see this dynamic. What's going on? And then Hannah and Hutter, like, we're besties, and we've seen them talk every now and then. But it's like, why aren't we seeing these relationships?
No.
So it doesn't feel, so we have to your point, no personal connection to a lot of them.
And that's completely fair. I do think that you're right. I think editing is driving the biggest reasons for that. But I also think that it is, unfortunately, and this is why I hate, I had a feeling this was going to happen, when you have a really lightning in a bottle type of season, and whether you're doing it intentionally, whether you're doing it subconsciously, everyone is trying to attain what that cast got, and it leads to inauthentic behavior.
Correct. And they should have never given them a show. They should have, and that made it even worse. The moment
and we talk about this on for Bravo stuff.
Yes.
You'll never have the old days of Bravo back, because before people didn't get social media famous off the show. It was only off of being on their particular show and nothing outside of it. Yeah. And it's only in the recent, like, I would even say 5 years, that like you can go on a show for one season, your whole life changes. Yeah. That never used to be a thing. Yeah. And that leads to why we are so like lacking in good content when it comes to reality TV. Until every so often, with fate has it, you have just everything aligns. You had last year you had Ariana coming off of a show that she mentioned, Love Island got me here for the first time. And then I stayed because the cast was that good. Because you know why? They were being so authentic to themselves. Even when it didn't, like, I didn't like Leah at first, because I was just like, she'd be crashing out to me all the time. Like, you talk about Huda, but for some reason we liked it when Leah did it. I'm not saying, I'm sorry. I know you didn't, Shirla, but the general public did. Leah was the, and
some of it I did.
But Shirla, to your point, I did not like that. It took me so long to get on. I couldn't see it at all. I did not fucking like it. And I think now, because I then ended up liking, like, I like understood a little bit more of like being like mentality being in there. Like, I can understand the crash out, and also the fact that producers were calling it what's the guy's name that they wanted Leah to be with? They were literally telling Leah it was Rob Island. She had no idea she was a fan favorite. She had no idea anything. So it's like, okay, yeah, I can understand why she was crashing out every so often. Like, you want to talk about like sound bites? No, we're sending 3 home because you're a fucking bitch. Like, that was a sound that was the summer of the sound. Serena's sound took away because you're a fucking bitch. Like, but Huda's doing it. She is an abuser. It's like, it's not matching. So Huda thinks she's like, it's okay to do this. Well, it's okay to say all this. And then it's like all of a sudden, like, so I don't know. I feel like what I'm trying to say is I think that last season has greatly affected people of the cast, the way production is running. And and I think that is what we're seeing heavily.
I agree, but like I see Huda having a similar trajectory as Leah because the audience tends to forget. Yeah, she already has the most followers out of all the women. And Meg, when she came in, that's my other thing is like, it's the things that the producers are doing that is not helping. Meg comes in and she's like, Huda girl, you'll crash out, but I love you, girl. All this stuff is giving. America then saves her. People talking about so much, but America still had the opportunity to keep her in the bottom, and she got more fans after that. And she was saved.
I think it was the timing of everybody because this is what I'm going to say. I think it was the timing of last year when no one intervened production, like they didn't put disclaimers up, and that was the week where everybody, and again, like I said, I was kind of like trying not to look on social media because I didn't want to get spoiled. Yet it's still some of that crept through, and I knew that Ariana had to make a statement about a bullying, and I knew it was about Hannah. They're put up, like, sorry, Huda, and now they're putting up statements. And then I think that Megan said that because she also saw all the stuff. She clearly does really watch the show.
It wasn't just for Huda; it was for Huda and Ace. Both of them were getting death threats.
Oh yeah, well yes, for both. I didn't. But the thing is, again, this is for the first time me hearing anything about Ace. Like, I only heard the Huda stuff. I actually had no idea that people had the same opinion, to be honest with you, because again, I hadn't seen anything on social media for the most part. It is news to me that anybody was thinking that he was a puppeteer. I thought I was alone on my own little fucking island. Because I just started talking to my coworkers about it, and so I actually thought I was in the minority because the way that they were talking about it is it's fuck Huda, they like Ace, they like da-da-da. So I thought I was like, am I alone thinking like? So I thought the majority was that no one thought that of Ace. I thought Ace. I actually thought Ace was, especially because of the way he is in the house, and because I haven't been, really speaking on social media, I thought that everybody also really liked Ace. So this is actually news to fucking me.
No, he's very popular. Both. Yeah. That's my thing. It's like, it's much as like Huda. Ace is definitely getting the villain arc. Huda started off with the Leah villain arc, and now they're doing a redemption arc for her, and she is gaining a lot of followers now, a lot, and she is going to leave. I would say probably she's going to have the most followers out of all the women. Ace already came in with a big following, so he's definitely has a lot, and I think Nick will be like right behind them. But like it's still that's what's like also frustrating about the audience. It's like, as much as the audience, will say like, I don't like the way these people are doing this and this and that. We did that when we voted because we like mess, and it's like, if it didn't happen that way, people like at the end of the day, we like mess, and it's still an entertainment show, and so it's like they will talk all this crap. And to these people, there are some psychotic people, but at the end of the day, they're gonna be try to follow these people and be up their behinds.
Well, it does. The thing is, it does actually, to me, like, now that we're talking it through, it does to me make sense that Ace and Huda would have the most following because, again, like I'm saying, like the difference between last season and this season is I think that there was a lot more it factor people on last season, and although I would say that Shelly is the fan favorite, she doesn't give maybe I would want to follow her on social media in the sense of like I don't know what she would post. Like she's not a person that seems like I'm like I want to see what she's up to. Well, but like she's not like I don't follow people based off of like what they look like. I follow people based off of entertainment value. And at the end of the day, I probably would, like, if I'm just going off of Huda probably would have more content. And that's like, people love to hate people. Like, even if you just want to know what,
they
you know what I'm
literally
saying?
keep up with them. Yeah.
So there's hate following. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and they're just polarizing where people,
Yeah,
it seems
that's a
like
good point.
people like Shelly. Like, you have just Huda and Ace, like, create strong feelings. One way or another, like, they incite strong feelings
Yeah,
from the
like,
audience.
I wouldn't want to, like,
both ways.
I wouldn't, there's not one single person on the cast that I'm interested to like, know. Like, I don't know, like, they seem so, everybody else seems so fucking normal for the most part, where, like, I'm like, I'm not, like, jumping to see what they're doing on a day-to-day. Whereas, like, Huda's story is, she has a kid. She is very, like, emotional. Like, I kind of, like, a little part of me is like, what is up with you? Yeah. And then same with Ace. Like, okay, you be dancing for random people on, like, in different countries. Interesting. But like, Jeremiah, not interested. No. Nick, not interested.
No.
But from like, Austin, definitely not interested in that. I don't want to be on that side of TikTok.
To bring the social media to about Shelly, you know, you say she's a fan favorite, but she also has been getting a lot of slack.
Right?
Yes. They've been, it's the Black women. Every year, it's like she's getting a little bit of the Serena treatment and things like that. You know, they will call her all types of bird. They'll say she's boring. They'll say so many things to only prop up Amaya. She's getting propped up by Amaya by hating on Shelly. And then they'll prop up Huda. So, like, or Sierra's another person they're propping up. So Sierra, I think I was looking at their following, and I think Huda has the most, Sierra second, and then probably Shelly. I haven't checked about Amaya.
I will say Sierra, a part of me didn't like her initially, and I like her more now. But she gave me, like, she kind of reminded me of that girl from Euphoria. Like, not her as not the actress, but how, like, she looks, the not just partially how she looks, but the character of the actress from Euphoria, the one that plays, like, the main bad bitch on the show. Yeah. That's what it gave me, where it's like, she is very clear that everyone thinks she's sexy. All men want to be with her, but she doesn't give a fuck. Like, she's very confident, but yet she is like, there's something about her vulnerable, but like
her some Nick.
Yes. And but the thing is, like, to your point, like, when she, like, when she did kind of say that she was open, it was when, like, she started really crying and really thinking about her feelings for Nick, where I was like, this is a girl that is, like, likes to present like she's strong, that she is a cool softie girl inside.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the Nick Alandria, and then when Sierra goes back to the house?
I mean, talk about production.
When you talk about scam, they want to talk about, like, these people are not authentic.
Like,
obviously,
to be fair, like, I don't think Nick would ever date Alandria. I don't think Alandria would ever date Nick.
Hell no.
Do I
they're using each other.
There was, like, no, but I think, like, in the beginning, was there, like, maybe a little fetishization, or, like, a little, like, lust, you know, because he did, you know, he did the secret kiss. Mm-hmm. While Taylor and Sierra were just banging the walls in that cabin, they were really making out, you know. Mm-hmm. So I do think, like, they do have, like, a fun little chemistry, but that the fans have taken that, run with it, turned it into this, like, their
Nick Alandria,
and then production was like, here's let's, like, put them in. Because the one thing I thought was so strange was, all of a sudden, they've been coupled 2 days, they're up in Soul Ties and they're making out. We know she only makes out in challenges, so it feels very much like she's just taking it like, this is just a challenge, and we're gonna make out for show and keep it moving.
That's what, and I think that's, again,
I wouldn't be mad at it, honestly. Like,
yeah, I do think they're
strange universe.
But at the end of the day, I'm not mad at it.
Real,
but I think she's in on it. I don't feel bad because I think she's in on it, and that's why I don't feel bad. But I also understand why she has to change it up, because I feel like she has been playing a game in a certain way of, like, authentic, really trying, like, and it's not working out for her. Again, the bitch almost went home, and guess what? She, like, at the end of the day, by any means necessary for her to be able to find her person. And if she has to like fucking be coupled up with Nick to do it, so goddamn be it. Like until the next person comes in.
Have?
You know what I mean?
Like home. This is where I feel bad.
Home.
I understand what you guys are saying in the whole dynamic. What I feel bad is the Sierra and her dynamic, because they are actually very close. And then what's going to happen, though, is that Sierra, rightfully so, they're going to play that on movie night. If none of them tells them, they're going to play it on movie night. Yeah. And the thing is Sierra is going to rightfully be very upset with Alandria, and Sierra's fans are going to rip into Alandria. Yes. And that is this is why I'm saying, like, Alandria loses a lot, you know, with this whole thing. And whereas Nick is then propped up to be, he is edited as the winner. He is the Rob that they hope, and he's edited as the winner.
You're preemptively seeing, because again,
and we're talking about it from as a viewer. You're talking about it as
because you know what the next thing is. So let's just so in case there are people who are just, you know, just listening to this or only getting a little bit of things from clips online and they haven't been watching and have never watched Love Island. Shirla is referring to movie night, which is the next step after Casa Amor. So whatever people did in the Casa Amor when you split up from your couples,
just in the dark.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Casa. It could be any shit talking, all that stuff.
So movie night is an opportunity for the people that are currently in the house to see things that the audience have seen, that the producers have picked out, that can shake things up, shake up dynamics. And they absolutely will play this. And to your point, Shirla, like, and you're not fucking wrong, because I actually believe that like, I just haven't even thought about movie night yet and what they could possibly play. And I think that is a very fair thing. You're preemptively frightened for her, as you should be, because to be honest with you, that is exactly what will happen.
And I say out of the comments, so I'm not even thinking about it from that perspective. But what I just hope that when the girls get back to the villa, Alandria and Sierra have a conversation. Yeah. Now, to be fair, Nick should be the one also having a conversation. But I do think, like in Love Island world, those conversations go a long way.
Yes, correct.
You know, so like for her safety, I hope she does that. And not that she should be put in the position to be the one to have to do that. But
you're right. She's gonna get it 10, no matter what, she's gonna get it 10 times harder
worse
than Nick ever will be. And the thing is, if it goes the way we think it's gonna go, Nick has an opportunity to really step up and like protect and take accountability. And if he doesn't, to your point, we should be calling him out and pitchforks and really burning him down. I'm not opposed to, I let me just tell you this, most of my opinions are all, and I know this, and Shirley, I know you're for the girls. I know you are, so this is not me saying that you're not. I just want to be very clear about that. I know you're for the girls. You're more so talking about the racial issue, which is also very much important. And I'm glad you are also speaking, and I'm highlighting this. So for me, I'm like, I fucking am all my perspectives are the girl-centered ones, and I'm glad that you're giving the perspective of the racial ones, because that's also important as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's so I think that is really great that we're highlighting a lot of the things that, you know, typically,
it's to your point of bringing that, like the racial aspect of it is like when I was talking about the hypocritical comments between Nick and Ace. It's just the way, like, it's one thing, and we talked about this earlier, of just like, you can criticize people's behavior. For example, we talked about, you know, we don't like the way Ace handled the Amaya situation. But you can do that without calling people evil, calling people a manipulator, calling people a narcissist. And it's like the same thing happening with like the Huda situation. Was she out of pocket? Should you name call? Absolutely not. Is she an abuser? We don't know that lady.
No.
No.
Yeah. I think that we're taking it a step far.
Exactly. And
because at the end of the day, Jeremiah was going back to her willingly.
Exactly.
In my opinion.
And then with this Alondra situation, she is in a lose-lose situation. And now the conversation, like people are up in arms about being like, why are you this idiot following behind Taylor? He clearly doesn't like you and all this stuff and calling her all types of bird. And it's just like,
I hate that.
Take a step back. Like imagine if a camera is following you somewhere and there's one relationship out there that you were in that you got out of and you were like, dang, he really didn't like me like that, or he really didn't love me like that. And it's like, nobody is out there calling you all types of bird and idiot and that you should off yourself. And so it's like, my heart
are they
breaks
saying
for her.
That?
Yes. That is literally
and how much
what they're
time
saying.
have we all wasted on men who were not really all that interested?
Oh, a lot.
Like,
and that's why I often think about like I guess that's why like the crash outs that the women are having, quote unquote. I'm like, I probably would have them too.
Exactly.
Because it's embarrassing to feel like you're being played or like to be feeling like, because I for me, babe doesn't mean the same that babe means for you, but all of a sudden I'm too fucking much. Maybe I am too much. So maybe we don't. So maybe we are not meant to be together. But you don't have to make me feel like make everyone think that I am like some horrible, dangerous, aggressive person. Like she has had aggressive moments, but
I just like, for me, I'm like, this is where we have to be careful too, because it's like a lot of people, even just like people's not liking of Ace, it's the acting as if other people are not grown. People are still, and it's almost like it's kind of like the same thing with the Schwartz aspect of things. Where people are always like, oh, but like he's Schwartz and like he doesn't have a mind of his own. They have minds of their own. And they have free will.
That's actually a great comparison, because especially the three dynamics too.
Exactly.
We can. That's great. That was fucking brilliant, Shirla.
sorry. But I'm saying like so many people are literally the online conversations that I see about Ace. Everything's Ace's fault. The women voted out Hannah. That's Ace's fault. Austin not liking Amaya. That's Ace's fault. The Casa boys not liking Amaya. That's Ace's fault. And it's like at some point, some of these people are making decisions on their own. And they're grown people. And we have to stop babying them too. It's like, to me, I'm just like, we've got to start sharing this blame to other people.
No, the thing is, I still think that Ace is probably, I do think Ace is a bit of a producer, whether he means to or not.
Fair.
But I also, and I don't think I have said this enough or said it at all, I also find all of the men, am I supposed to call them B words? But I think they're all B words because...
Not natural leaders.
Not natural leaders. Ace is a natural leader and they're all followers. And I actually...
The youngest.
And I actually find them pathetic.
Yeah, I agree with you.
To be honest with you, to me, it's F all the men. And I was like... So that's what, like, for like the Amaya thing. Okay, so Ace had a little spat with Amaya and he gonna say his perspective. And then you all who didn't have that interaction with Amaya are gonna, every time she walks around, oh my God, she's scared.
No,
like, you guys are all you guys stop.
Like, the Amaya one is a little bit different for me because it's like, yes, Ace had his perspective. Everybody heard Amaya yelling at Shelly. There was a moment of like, where they all heard that her yelling at Shelly. Yes. So like, I think because even
both.
Even when people have the interviews after, it's clear that the house really respects Shelly. So the fact that like she's not problematic and you're coming at her for a man's behavior, that's when I get thrown off. And it seems like that's when people kind of got thrown off with her. And, you know, yes, people can be with their emotions and you should always embrace your emotions. But like there was a scene with Alondria and her where people were criticizing Alondria because Alondria's not, they're the two opposites. Alondria's not somebody that's overly emotional and Amaya expresses all of her emotions and, you know, she can cry on a dime. They were upset that Alondria wasn't comforting her. And it's like people are babying in Amaya where it's like Alondria's in a very similar boat. She actually got booted off the island because nobody in Casa wanted her. Like, people aren't coming in and really courting Alondra like that. But we're not seeing Alondra just, like, yelling at people. She's not yelling, but, like, you know, with the whole Shelly situation, going after her over a man because a man is not, you know, talking to you how you want to talk to or picking you for some reason. So it's like, I can understand the dynamics in the house when they hear that. And then you know, again, we don't see all of the stuff. And I hate to take Austin's word for it, but when I'm hearing two people say she's overly too touchy with me, and I personally don't like that. And then the Casa boys also, like, that Zach guy, unfortunately does not like her. Like, it's just like, yes. And like, it's the bait.
Alondra did.
Exactly. And it's like,
simple as that.
It's literally.
That's Bella.
And yeah, and it's just like watching her, and I get you have to do what you got to do, you know, like, you make out with them and all that stuff.
I mean, like, honestly, I thought that I thought all of the Casa people made the correct decisions for themselves. Yeah. Because unfortunately, Alondra made it very, very clear that she was only interested in Taylor. And to be fair, if they had any chance, everybody made the correct choice.
I agree. I agree.
I'm sorry.
I agree.
As much as I like, but the thing is, I am happy that Alondra was authentic to herself, because, like, even in the moment of, like, when she was going to be supposedly eliminated, she could have not been, but she was like, I'm gonna have my cowboy. I was like, bitch, wait, hold on now. Like,
she said, my man.
Because I was like, hold on, like to the last second, bitch, hold that in. I was like, now no one's gonna stand up now.
See, but this is where Love Island is so heavily produced, because Shelly's bi. The way I would have stood up, and I'm like, I don't care if this is against the rules. Why can't I stand up for her?
Well, yeah. I mean, fair. That's I never actually thought about that part. Like, maybe. But the thing is, but I guess Shelly does like the problem is Shelly did say that she likes that guy. So
yes, but like over Alondra.
But if she didn't like that guy, then she should have.
Yeah, she should have. Fair. Yeah, I mean, so
I was about to be like, you're right. Wait, Shelly should have. She should
have. I'm just interested.
But I guess she does like that guy, so that does. Yeah, like play.
I'm interested to see how the Casa boys move, because Zach clearly doesn't like Amaya. Zach with a K. And Chris is interested in Shelly and Huda. And
who the fuck is Chris again?
Chris is the tall guy. That's what
the one Shelly's with.
Yeah.
Is that his name, or does he go by something else?
No, his name's Chris.
That's his name.
JD's the one that's with Huda.
I'm looking at my notes right now.
And then Elan is the one that's with
there
Sierra.
is a Chris. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So
Chris escaped me.
It's going to be interesting. I'm interested
to see. Basketball player.
He is a basketball. Well, they need to be clear about that, because, like, he's not a basketball. No shade, but
none of them are American basketball players.
Let's make that real clear.
Like, anybody on Love Island who said they're a basketball
I was gonna let it go. I was like, don't nobody want to ask a follow-up question of
yes, because, like, everybody loves to be like,
Pepe is a basketball player.
Like, not to put down overseas, but he said a professional American. He said a professional basketball player, which, yes, overseas is professional, but the wording is like, I'm a doctor, you're a dentist.
Exactly. Correct.
Notice they're not saying I'm in the NBA. Exactly. No, I'm a professional basketball player.
Right.
You're a psychiatrist. You cannot operate. Because you know what the word, like a connotation when you say doc, like you're a PhD doc. Like, you're not about to go in the operating room, and you know most people think the NBA, and most people are thinking surgeon.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like,
they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing for sure. So, like, I'm interested.
I mean, I'm not mad at it. If you want to, don't want to ask a follow-up question.
No. I'm interested to see that the things that I'm interested to see is the Nick, Alondra, Sierra, because she's definitely dropping Elan, if they have the option of, like, dropping their partners.
Yeah, she don't like that man. She don't like that man.
So I'm interested to see that.
I thought she did try it, though.
Yes, I'm interested to see that dynamic. I'm interested to see the Shelly, Ace, Chris dynamic, because he don't like Coco. And then I'm interested to see the Chris, Shelly, Huda dynamic, because Huda and Chris clearly have chemistry. And I'm interested to see how Zach moves, because he doesn't like Amaya. Those are my things that I want to. Those are the things I want to watch.
I feel like Amaya is the Liv of Love Island.
I think it's fucking Austin. Jesus, that man can't go anywhere. Yes, he can't leave. I've been like, how many times?
No, I know, but it's like no one is. But the thing is, like, there have been people that have been genuinely interested in Austin. I don't know why. And I was gonna say some things that I said I'm being better, and I was like, I am, because there's gonna be some things that I don't need to say.
Yeah, keep it
about his appearance.
Keep it to yourself. Because the internet's already talking about everybody's appearance. Like that poor Vanna.
Unnecessary. It's whatever. Anywho, my whole thing is there are people that have been genuinely interested in Austin, but like last year, like what?
No, we're not saying it.
So say it.
No.
No.
We're gonna be better.
We gotta be better. I'm gonna say something. Okay, I'm gonna say my rude stuff to you offline. Anyway,
the boys have been getting amazing women, like from the OG cast to the Bombshell, and the girls have been getting nothing but dust.
Flop,
so I
flop,
think,
flop.
yeah. So I think them, and honestly, most of the Casa guys are just all height. And I just like don't.
I was
even
thinking
think,
the same thing.
Yeah.
I was being so.
They're just tall.
They're tall. They're not like.
I was like Butterface.
Yeah,
Butterfaces, all of them. I actually do think that Zach with the K is cute.
Yeah,
but I just
his moments.
I think
he kind of wants Alondria for real.
The Asian one, right?
Yeah,
that's what we're all talking about.
He's actually Miguel's friend.
I think he's so cute. I think he's so cute.
I think he's cute too.
I think that if he had started out in the original cast, everybody would feel differently about him. And I think he's so cute. And I feel bad because it's like when people come this late, it's like, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's harder when you come later.
This is like, I get that as Casa, but like, it's giving very like overly trying to be physical with these ladies, like, and then just like the comments that they make, like it's
I think that's Love Island's fault though too, because of the look at the challenges that they have them do. They make it seem like that's like it's this is why I wouldn't, even if I was like single, even if I was willing to ever go on a show to find love or a reality show in general, I would never in a million years pick Love Island because I would never be comfortable with the amount of stuff that they have to be comfortable. I'm spitting milk in. I don't like milk.
That's crazy. They used to do food.
Milk in my mouth?
Yeah. They used to do food. They used to do food.
And I don't like that shit in general.
Gross.
But I have to understand that that is an environment that I think everybody has come and has accepted as a part of it. It's like the convention of Love Island. Yeah. So it's hard for me to like, I guess, be too critical when they do that, just because I feel like Love Island is so its own thing that I'm like, well, so when is it? I don't know. Now I'm so confused because I have to like bend my like way of thinking for this show.
I guess like in my way, and this is why like again, like I do appreciate the main boys that they were able to read the room of when to kiss the girls. Like, this is where Jalen turned Alondria off, where, like, after the challenge and everybody kept picking her to kiss, you're going to come up to her and be like, oh, can I get a kiss? Like, yuck. And then the Casa boys just, like, asking, like, we connect mentally. Now it's time to connect physically. It's been 24 hours. Like, it's all these things. Is like in the way that they were having their boys chat and talking about, like, you deserve lips. You should get some lips tonight. Like, I don't know. Something about them just, like, really, like...
But you know what it is?
Like giving them the power.
That's what I'm saying.
They knew they had the power, and the thing is, and so that's why I'm like, it's a catch-22, and for me, like, I'm trying my best to be like, think of it from their perspectives. I agree. I still think that there's a way better way. Like, at the end of the day, we're all human, and like, it doesn't matter if like. And that's why you have to be careful who you give power to. You should never give power to men. You know what I mean? Because they're
obviously we're in a war.
I just do think that they're going to take advantage when given the opportunity, and that is exactly what the fuck happened. Is it right? No, but do I think that any I think that all men would probably do the same thing if they're like, they know that they get to be the people ultimately that get to if it's your fate if you stay or go. Like but whereas before. Like they couldn't do that. So I have no idea if other people would do that in the past because they know they can't do that. They're at the will of the main original cast to be picked or not. So they have to move in a certain way.
Their goal is to connect. So every casa, they're overly sexual. To me, it was they just weren't reading the room. Like in casa, like I felt like when people were making out, it felt mutual. Like being like whether the girls wanted to do it or the guys wanted to do it, it felt mutual. Because to your point, everybody wants to be picked and like there was stake to it. And like whether they come back or not, this time around, and maybe to you guys' point, that is because they had power. And this is also probably the first season that, there's been other seasons where the girls have acted out, but like first season lately, the girls have like literally been like, this is our bachelorette. So like that to me, it's like the girls could be ready and willing, but like they do also are like, okay, let me see if I can connect better with you versus who I connect with back at the house. And you're just like, I want to make out with you right now. I'm not listening
because they had the power.
Yeah.
But like guarantee they wouldn't be being that presumptuous or forceful or whatever if it was the same rules that apply usually where they would be at the will if it, up to the women if they stay or go. So the thing is like women, even though the other women who came in had the same opportunities, women are better than men. And we are not going to treat people horribly because we have power. Men will always will. Unless you're Huda.
Then you're a bitch. Girl. I'm sorry, girl. But listen, we like her. We don't say, actually, we don't know her. So
Huda is, I actually don't know if I like Huda. I just know that I don't think that Huda should, I don't think that Huda should be getting death threats.
No.
Huda is annoying to me.
She's not my favorite.
I don't like how she centers herself. No. It really bugs me.
Who's you guys' top 3 favorites?
That's hard. I was trying to think of this before I came on.
Men and women?
Men and women.
Both?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Shelly and Alondria.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
It could be all girls if you want. It could be all boys if you want.
Okay. That's about it.
I'm going to have to go with Shelly and Alondria. And actually, Sierra.
Sierra's cool. I really want to see more of her. I feel like that's also my other thing between Sierra and Shelly. Like they to me, Sierra also gives nothing.
Them to make out again.
Sierra does not like women.
No, but they just had I liked their little.
Yes, I know.
I think I'm really having a hard.
It doesn't have to have any stakes. They don't have to end up together.
I'm having a hard time because I don't like anybody's couples, and the thing is, so therefore, I don't want anybody to end up with anybody. Is that an option?
No.
The thing is, I really truly don't like anybody's pairings. I don't like the pool of people.
I don't care for any of the couples.
I don't like it. And so on an individual basis, in prosperousness from the experience, Alondria, Sierra, and Shelly, in whatever fucking order they can be, they are my PPG. I hope that they get everything that they ever wanted, and whoever is lucky enough to be attached to them is lucky.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you guys. Shelly's my number 1. Wherever Shelly goes, I go. I would say Alondria second, and I love Ace for the mess. I gotta have mess. I'm sorry. I love
any of these men.
I love my messy.
Like any of these men.
I love my messy short king, and I am here for it.
I do not like any of these fucking men
whatsoever.
I personally, I'm trying.
I personally last year did not like anybody but Janae, and I like Serena now.
I didn't like Serena at first, but I liked her by right before Casa, and then I liked her.
Janae was always my number 1.
Janae, I loved Janae the entire time, and and I think I didn't like Leah until
I never liked Leah.
I liked Leah about Casa.
I
When she said white tears, I said,
Leah still, I guess I never liked Leah personally. And like, they're friends now, sure. The whole Connor dynamic with Janae.
That's when that pissed me off.
And even
I could not get over that.
And even with the show, and I don't know how they're editing it, but like, just don't say anything. Like I feel like she gives them material because the discourse has always been that Serena is the connector of the three, and that like Janae and Leah are not as close. But again, we don't know these people, so it's just like very. When you then, it feels like it's being fed into, like with the show of her being like, Janae, it's time for you to get over it with the Connor thing. You're in a beautiful relationship and all that. Like, Janae doesn't have to move on from what Connor did to her. Like, he had a lot of racial undertones when it comes to her. So, like, I personally, like, I can't get over things like that. And I'm happy that they're friends. So that's why I personally just like, for Leah, cool. I can follow her. She's interesting.
The only reason I don't care about that situation anymore, because I very much took me a very long time to get past it, is that I can't be more mad than Janae is, and it feels like she's completely past it. So therefore, I am completely past it, and it feels like she legitimately is completely past it. It'd be different if she's just like, and then there wasn't anything else that I saw that would make me feel like that's how she treats Janae. So I had to chalk it up to something happened that I did not fucking see, especially knowing the producers were doing some really like weird shit. So that is the only reason why. But like, to your point, like I could not understand why everybody liked Leah. I could not get with it. And then towards the end, and it was really the dynamic it was really the fact that Serena and Janae seemed to like her so much that I had to really reevaluate that there might be something I was missing. And it was those two who got me to like Leah.
Yeah, agreed.
Not my cup of tea. I'm still as like Janae.
I personally ended up liking Serena. I thought Janae was my favorite, but Serena turned out to be actually my ultimate favorite. Just because I don't know. Well, like I don't know, like the substance wise.
Yeah.
And
Serena
everything beauty wise and charisma wise, Serena has everything for me, because I actually find Leah quite boring.
Yes. I agree. Like, whereas like Janae was my favorite through and through. And even when, again, like she got a lot of backlash too. But Serena, to you guys' point, like she out of the house, I'm obsessed with her.
As much as I like Janae, I will say she was falling off for me towards the end last year, because something about like, and to this day, and I'm interested once I start watching the spinoff if I'll get a little bit more authenticness, because I know that they're showing a little bit more of the relationships. I know it's going to be highly produced. I get that, but I just feel like I've never gotten to like feel like I had a real conversation with Janae. There's always something about it that is very filtered and like literally a beauty filter.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've never seen a peak really behind her. And I feel like I've seen that with with Leah, I've seen that with Serena. And it doesn't mean that you have to be yelling and all these things. I don't know. Like that's why she, like, even I would say Janae out of the PPG has gone to the third spot just off of like, I feel like I don't know who she is at all.
I don't think that's her personality. It's kind of the same critique that people have of Nia off of The Valley. Whereas like I think a lot of the times it's just like you have no choice but to be positive. And like if you see like it's and I agree.
I think she's doing a better job though this season of giving us more of that. But I agree, that's not in her nature to be overly like. And by the way, I'm not saying that but I still like Janae. It's just
I agree. It's just for you personally. This is your at the end of the day. This is who you. It's kind of the same thing when I say for me. I'm like Janae's my number one, Serena's second, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then like we all have our own cup of tea. Like that's okay. We all have our own cup of tea of like, and I feel like that's the thing of like, we all can have our opinions and we be like, okay, well, this person doesn't agree with my opinion, so let me try to convince them for this and that. And it's like at the end of the day, you like who you like. You hate who you hate.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's no right, and the thing is, at the end of the day, there is, to your point, there is no right answer. Unless it's something insane, like we said, abuse, racism, things like that.
Taylor.
Like
violence.
We are all different people, and we're all going to naturally grab. That's why, like, there are friend groups. There are people, like, you're not always necessarily friends with everybody, but that doesn't mean that you go around wanting, just because you're not necessarily best friends with somebody, or somebody's not like somebody you would find a friend, you're not going to go out of your way to necessarily be rude to them or like whatever. Like, your personalities just don't jive, or that's just like, and that's completely fine. There's no right or wrong answer. So I think that it's just interesting to see like what you're picking up on, what you're seeing. Again, like, we are only basing it off of what we see there. And I think that it is nice that we're all leaving room that there are things that we're not seeing that could absolutely change my perspective on a lot of people. But there's a lot of episodes left. Right now. I still don't like Ace.
That's fine.
But I am very happy, because it wouldn't have come from me if you weren't talking about the racial aspect of it, which I'm really happy to talk about, because that, as much as I like don't necessarily like love him, he's not my favorite person in the house.
Yeah.
He has not done one single thing that would make me think that he is a bad person.
Correct. I think that's my whole thing is like, it's okay to not like people. It's just interesting the conversations that are happening about him versus other people who are making the same movements. And that's the only thing that I wanted to point out when it comes to him, because it's like, it's the grace it's the same thing that when we talk about these Bravo shows, it's the same thing of like, when we had talked about like the Lindsay dynamic versus the Paige, or, even like, Jasmine wasn't our favorite on the Valley, but like the amount of hate that she also received when, there's other people on there who are not the Jasmine of the Valley did not receive. Like, it's just like things like that of like these audiences, and a lot of people are clip farming is what I'm starting to notice, is that they're not even watching these episodes. They are literally clip farming. They're seeing clips and then they're just picking it up.
Basing their whole yeah.
Exactly.
Context is important. And if you can't, most people are taking clips of the most extreme version of what has happened. And context absolutely fucking matters.
Yeah, and so is production. Production is still taking, like,
absolutely.
We also have said, like, we don't really care for Huda, but, like, who knows? Like, a lot of us have, listen, I'm not a yeller or screamer, but I do have a mouth on me, okay? So I don't know what I would have said in that situation. I probably wouldn't call him a bitch.
And also, I feel like a lot of people are not really, like, I wish, like, we didn't really get too much into her being a mother at
Mamacita.
But the thing is, like, I could understand, like, before a lot of the real big blow ups, and I do think that she is a little bit emotionally volatile and stunted, and I think she does need to really work on herself in that aspect, like, in my opinion. But I could also understand why she didn't go. She could not necessarily date in the way that everybody else was dating, because she does have a child. And so for her, she did want to try to find someone that she thought would be someone she could actually be with, and just kind of cut the bullshit.
Right.
I don't know why she thought that was Jeremiah. To me, and then a part of me was like, is she attracted to Jeremiah? Because to me, Jeremiah, at first I thought he was like, I actually thought he was going to be like a manipulator, but I actually think that he is just very immature and almost childlike. And it can, like, and I was almost confusing that. Like, the more he started talking, I was like, he gives such child energy. And I know, and tantrums and not talking and like, and I feel like she was mothering him, and maybe she was attracted to him because she's so used to just like being around a child a lot. And I don't know, is that like, it could be possibly that. And she's not even aware that a part of it is she's so used to being around an adolescent.
I mean, but it's also a reminder that we're all in our 30s and these people are 22 years old.
Yeah.
And so
frontal lobes are not developed.
Exactly. And so like and that's my other thing of just like the way people are reacting to them is that, they are very, very young. And this show is supposed to be fun. They're like, yes, of course people want to find love, but who's ready to get married at 22, 23 years old? Like if they find a connection, great, but this is still going to be an experience. So it's like, yes, I know that we want it to be like the ultimate, people find love, people live together and all that stuff. But Love Island is just a place that you could potentially meet and match that you have never have met before. And so it's like, I just need people to take a breath and remember what you were doing at 22 years old. And there probably were some off-color things that you said. And then imagine people calling you an abuser after that, or a gaslighter or a manipulator.
Like that's why I'm like, okay, like again, we all know me, like I crash out all the fucking time. I'm working on it. I would hate that all of that stuff be something that somebody can like clip, put together and have commentary on, which is why I would never fucking be on a show like this. Which is why I also need to be better about like, taking a breath and like
me too.
Taking it for what it is.
Because I even had some harsh comments on Jeremiah earlier and like again, like what I'm seeing. But like I have to also remind myself that, at 22, 23, probably everybody was like super love bombing anyway, like so
yeah,
like,
everything was so like
intense.
Yeah, it's literally you're just like, and you get your feelings hurt so quickly and you're like, this is the love of my life and all that stuff. So like it's a reminder to all of us that like they're 22. And when you realize that they're 22, you're like, oh yeah, and you're in your 30s.
Like, it's basically horny summer camp. Like, what's real? Like, what do we really?
That's why Nick was making out with two people in one night.
Like, let's just have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then
I can't lie to you guys though. The audience is ruining it for me though. I can't.
That's what
I will
saying.
say.
I will. This is out of the comment sections.
I will say
Twitter,
overall,
like, and my TikTok. Oh, I don't even look at the comments. It's literally content creator. I'm like,
yeah, it's again. Yeah, I think that on all production, the cast, the audience was all ruined by last season, and now everybody's like trying to cash in on the potential of what making commentary, what the season on production's side can do, and the cast on the opportunities that can lead afterwards. And it is making it not as exciting or fun because I really look back on last season and I had so much fun watching, and this is not fun. This does not feel fun.
No, I also think that like it is reminding me of like a lot of the UK stuff. That's my fear because it's like the UK after season 5, when how Love Island really became popular. And this is my thing. I'm like, season 5 of UK didn't even get a whole show. And they are the reason why we have Love Island in so many different countries. Like, that's when we get the Maura Higgins, who's on like this Love Island. Now she's on Traitors. You had Amber, you had Obi, who's like the best bombshell on earth. You had Molly May, you had like literally stars. They were the first ones that became stars. And then after them, people start to come. But I think the difference with the cast and like specifically last year and this year, I think a lot of people were aligned on who they liked and didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
And it was obvious of like, I also think the production editing was a little bit better last year. Like you could point out where they're like, okay, we see what you're doing with Rob. But also people fell into the thing of like Leah and Rob should be together. And we also fell into the idea that like Leah and Miguel never had a connection. This is giving a situationship in the top 3. And there's a couple people who were like, Kenny doesn't like Janae because we never see him respond to her. And they also had that dynamic of no one liked Janae or Serena because they weren't attracted to them. And meanwhile, Serena came out and said people were coming in left and right pulling us for chats. Like we were the hottest thing. And we never saw that. And so I'm like, why do they keep doing this?
And I also feel like the cast last year, and they did have the convenience of them not thinking that they were on a very popular show because they weren't, and they've now made USA popular. From my understanding, like UK was a popular franchise, not USA.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like the stepchild, and it seems like no one thought anybody was watching like the cast not.
Kendall did.
Yeah, it was much.
I'm not talking about Kendall. That's why I fucking never fucked with
Kendall.
And
Kendall.
Nicole.
Just much lower stakes.
No,
than
but I never fucked with Kendall for those fucking reasons. He was like I from day one was like calling him out because I was like I could see what he was doing, and it was like that's the whole thing. I can go down a fucking rabbit.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay.
But what I like, even with like the Rob and the Leah situation, I feel like we got so many authentic moments because they and even with the manipulation of production with like calling it Rob Island, making I agree as well. But the thing is, like, he was still moving in ways where it was like, you can't tell Rob what to do. And you know that. Like, a producer can tell, a producer can suggest something to Rob is one of those, he is just gonna do what the fuck he wants to. Same with Leah, same with Serena, same with and I think that is why that whole thing overall, the producers really try like that. They because Serena, Cordell, and I would say that entire cast for the most part were so authentically them. They forced the production to have to show Cordell and Serena's stuff that they didn't show because then we're like, something isn't adding up. And it's like they kind of like stuck to their guns so much that they kind of forced production in a way to have to pivot in a way that they weren't planning on it.
But this is where I said that Janae set the tone. They were not.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Janae set the tone for that season by getting rid of that tall man. Because even the boys were like, even Cordell was like, why wouldn't you pick him? Like, I don't understand that. Like, she set the tone, and I feel like there's always a moment. And I feel this is how I feel. I feel like Huda and Jeremiah set the tone of this season, and that's why it's off to me, personally. By the moment of him just bypassing Yulissa, and like, listen, I get it. Now that Yulissa's outside the house, I get that you didn't want to be stolen, but you don't know Huda. And you still have a chance of getting to know Huda, and still, even if you're coupled up with somebody else. So I think the moment that he curved Yulissa, that set the tone for this season, in my opinion.
No one's exploring in a real way.
No.
Like, it's like, you will have a chat, but like, you don't, like, there's no triangles, it's all very much like, this is my couple. Like, I'll have a conversation with you if that's the time. And like, there's not the real like exploration of like other connections.
And that's why I'm nervous about Alondria with the Sierra situation, because the tone was set. Yeah. And now
normally this would be completely acceptable in this season.
I'm going to say this. I just feel like last season was very millennial coded, and this season feels very Gen Z coded. And you can say Jeremiah Huda, you can say and XY. I think overall we have way more Gen Z personalities on this season, and we had way more millennial personalities, and it fucking shows.
They are,
let me tell you something. Millennials don't care about what we look like, which is why we had better TV.
That's a good
point.
We
are from a generation that uploaded every blurry picture and didn't give a fuck. Okay?
No
and
filter.
I still don't. And I'm glad they're there, because sometimes I was just looking through some of these cringy ass shit I said everything on the internet. And a part of that, I missed that, like when I just didn't give a fuck. Yeah. And Gen Z is so curated, which is what I think I'm getting.
That's a good point.
From the boys, especially. They're so aware of everything, and everything is like, you can't say this to me. Like,
well, so are the girls, though. Huda's Huda was trying to have her Serena moment.
All of them.
So many times.
The thing is, but Huda was approaching, like, she was definitely trying to have her Serena moment, and I would also argue Leah moment, but we're not on that cast. That they're not on a cast of millennials. You're on a cast of Gen Z, and it's not the correct audience. They don't use emojis. They don't like funny. They're not funny. They're not humorous. They're a business. Always like, okay, like this is that is inappropriate. They will report you to HR. Do not talk about okay. And millennials, we are inappropriate. We say things that we're not supposed to all the time. Is that problematic? Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
But this is what's going to happen.
We're entertaining as fuck.
And I get that. But like for me, I'm like, every Love Island season is different. I think what's also ruining this season is everyone keeps comparing it to last season. And you're going to get a new cast every single season. And you have to let go of last season. This is
I agree.
This is the cast that we're given. And so either you watch it or you don't. So it's like
I agree.
to me, it's what's frustrating is so many people are watching it or hate watching it and then making content. And now production is just overly producing by putting Nick and Alandra together and, and having the Casa boys and girls have the power and having these dumpings back and back because they're trying to overly produce instead of letting things organically happen. And it's like, you either watch or you don't.
The thing is, I think it's fine to be critical of this. Like, again, every season is going to be different. And if you don't like a show, if you're genuinely not enjoying it, you should not be watching it. However, I do think you're allowed to be critical of things that you know,
for sure.
Right. And you're allowed, like, naturally you might have a favorite season. Like, if you like the idea of the show and you generally are like, did I like last season better? Sure. Is it probably because they had a lot more millennial coded to my humor? Sure. Am I enjoying this season? I am.
Yeah.
But what I'm not enjoying is when I feel like everyone is trying to, like, diagnose everybody, and I don't feel like people are allowing
Think pieces.
people,
my God.
like, and I feel like it's happening in the house and it's happening outside of the house, so I can't escape it anywhere, and that's where I'm not enjoying it. And I wish everybody will that's what I mean by, like, everybody needs to, like, stop psychoanalyzing everybody.
Yeah.
And if, like, yes, like, let if Hood is let her fucking crash out. Like, I mean, but, like, whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, that's what's, like, throwing me. I still am enjoying it. So, like, I will stop. If I wasn't enjoying it, I would, like, just not watch it. But
I get what you're saying by, like, the think pieces. But, like, my comeback to that is that it has always happened in so many of these houses. Like,
yeah.
And and to me, what I appreciate the most about America versus the UK is that in America and the UK, the Black women get bullied. Like, it is to the point that it's just like where nobody in there wants them. And then the audience is on top of them. What I can appreciate about America is that we do uplift the Black women.
Yeah.
But, like, the think pieces of,
well,
like,
there's always, like, one Black woman in the UK.
always just, like, one in the UK. But, like, it becomes high school. These are still young people that are put into a house with no phones or anything. And you unfortunately get that. You're going to get where people are, ostracizing. You're going to get where people are talking about them because they have nothing else to talk about. So they have to talk about each other. So it's like my hope for a lot of people is that if you want to start watching Love Island, you've got to let go of season 6. You have to let it go. And you have to just, like, watch things with a new slate. Yes, the production has their players and their roles that they, typecast, they get the different cast members, of course. But just breathe and enjoy it and stop trying to compare couples to last season. Not every couple lasts. Not everybody's going to have a winner that you want. You're not going to have your favorite here, but you're going to love the experience of it if you just let it go.
I agree. I think that we're all saying the same things, and at the end of the day, I think that at least, like, all three of us, I don't know if Jaleeza, you feel this way, but, like, that was my biggest fear of watching this, was that it would just be the comparison of last season. And I was looking forward to, as now being my second time, seeing why people do typically, like you and Jaleeza, come back to this show season after season, because every season is a different cast. You know what I mean? It's like this, unlike Bravo for the most part, where it's like at least most of the same people coming back, one or two people being new. So for me, like, I was really wanting to, like, go into it with not comparing it, and I wish that I didn't feel like on all aspects that last year is unfortunately seeping in from the cast, from the production, through other people. And that's how I feel. Like, that's I'm more so observing that and wishing that wasn't the case.
And me and Jaleeza, when did you start Love Island UK?
it's been a long time. I can't remember. I went back and I haven't watched all the UK seasons, but like I went back and like watched like very early on.
I would have to say, look, I was gonna say, just like pointing out for a lot of Love Island UK watchers, we've had our season 6 experience a long time ago. Like season 5 is still the goated season where the next season it was okay, but season 5 had so many stars that like that's when Love Island started to be like when people just started to go on it because of season 5. So like I guess we've experienced that, so we understand. And like to me, I'm like, when people are like, "Oh, season 6 is like so amazing and great," I'm like, nothing compares to season 5 Love Island. You get
yeah. I mean, there would, like you said, there wouldn't be a PPG if it wasn't for season 5 of Love Island. And I think the difference is we are so far past that. Like there have been so many additional seasons that like. Yes, like I think UK watchers have at least grasped like you just have to treat each season like a one-off.
Yeah, there wouldn't be a PPG. It wouldn't be a
different
USA,
right?
Or Australia, or France.
Just from you guys and from people who actually, even Ariana, who again I only started watching. You guys have told me about Love Island many times over, and I had still not had any interest in watching it. Ariana got me here, but Ariana didn't keep me here. It was the cast. And like, you know what I mean? Because I didn't realize that Ariana wouldn't even really be a part of it as much as until I started watching. I was like, oh, she's not even really that much a part of it.
No.
But honestly, like, yeah, I still very much like Love Island. I like the concept of it. So I think again, we're all saying the same thing. I think that we all do really need to, when we're watching it, need to just let go of last season. Anybody coming on, we really need to like not try to be the goal does not need to be what happened to happen with last year's cast with the success they had outside of it, because it prevents what like how that cast even got the opportunity. They got those opportunities from being themselves, not trying to be a version of themselves to get a brand deal.
Yeah,
so it's never going to work.
The producers also need to stop marketing. Like, again, I understand you have roles that you need to fill, but stop marketing like, you know, you're trying to recreate PPG. Their content that they've been posting, they're like, is this another doc moment? Like, stop doing that. Like, you're making it worse. And it's like, it's making it harder for people. And this is where I don't blame people who are watching for the first time. So like, I try to say it as much as I can. Like so many people are like, this has never happened before because they're talking about last year. And it's like, this has happened before. And actually UK now sucks now because, but it's like, apparently it's good this year though. So I need to go back and watch.
I can't do them both at the same time because I'll be honest, I did not watch UK last season because it was horrible.
I saw
after like the second week.
But they had their first black.
I don't know if I have the capacity to do both.
It's after US and then just catch up because I can't do 6 times a week.
No, and they have way more. They have like 670, almost 70 episodes.
Yeah, and they do like 8 weeks. Their season is even longer.
It took me all my might to be able to get through the 21 episodes. I mean, with the exceptions of the After Sun, to be able to catch up to do this. So I really had to like lock in. But I think that this was a productive conversation. I think that this is just another example of why the group chat is really important and fun, because at the end of the day, we all had like our own viewpoints and the way that we were watching the show. But you see how you can disagree and be respectful.
Look at us.
Learn.
Take notes.
Let's take notes. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to call. I don't have to call Shirla a stupid bitch. I'm kidding. And Shirla don't have to call me a stupid bitch, or Jaleeza don't have to call both of us a stupid bitch.
Them bitches, all of us.
We didn't watch it through the same lens.
Yeah. Okay. And that's fine. And that's the joy of reality TV. But I beg of you, put down the think pieces, please, y'all. And
we don't know these people,
the
and they're being in they're again, we're in a vacuum, being put in positions and in situations that no normal person is being put in.
Yeah.
So you don't know how you would react or be. You don't know the process it even takes for them to get into the house. They sequester them for 2 weeks prior for them to get into the villa itself. So the mind is crazy. That's why people say, like, people who get put in solitary confinement go cuckoo.
Yeah.
It's not natural to be locked away from people. It makes you behave in a certain way. So regardless, let's just be kind.
Yeah.
Watch it. The show is supposed to be entertaining. It's supposed to be fun. And remember, at the end of the day, these people are people.
Yeah.
Okay?
And last thing I want to say is that let's give people grace, because it's like, I know we're going to have our favorites, but give the women some grace. They may not make decisions based on how you would make decisions. Same with the men. They may not make the same decisions. And you got to respect that. And if you literally just let that go, you will not get as amped up as you think. Like last night's episode, me personally, I felt like the Megan episode and last night's episode was probably the funnest episodes I've ever seen on Love Island. Like, I have never seen a cast, and this is where I
might rewatch the Megan one. It was so good.
Oh, the Megan was so good.
This is why I say, like, I personally have been enjoying this season, because I just feel like this cast has has opportunities where they just let loose, and I feel like I have not seen that from a lot of seasons, where it's like there's always a bunch of people that truly hate each other, and it really comes off. And whereas like these people are like, this person annoys me, but you know what? I'm still going to have fun. And that Megan episode showed. And last night when they were all just having an orgy pretty much and just like playing the game, I'm just like, this is fun. Like they were having fun. And it was a reminder that this show is fun. Please have fun.
I love that. And we will be having a lot more fun because these three bombshells will be bringing you our weekly recaps of what we liked, disliked, but again, take everything that we say, even in the group chat, with a grain of salt.
Please do.
Okay?
Don't send us any hate comments, please.
No.
I'm not the one. I will crash out.
Keep it in your inbox.
Keep it in your inbox.
Shirla might be watching her bees, but I won't. Okay?
Better watch them B-words.
You know I won't, Shirley.
See, that's the thing is like, if I was Irish in that bombshell and Huda was bending and saying, calling me all the time, I'm like, watch them B words, but you about to watch this. I'd have been
I'm just gonna kiss him longer.
Right.
For every B you drop is an extra 10 seconds.
And you know
Enjoy.
What? I don't even want to kiss somebody
You
else.
would. I know you would, Jaleeza. Jaleeza's a petty. Jaleeza would be a sneak petty bitch. I love her.
Yes.
Shirla just cuts you off. And I don't even hear dead. Her. Good luck. You will never get any. You know why Shirley don't have to use the B's? Because it's her silence is worse than any B word she could ever fucking call you. Know that. Have you? I get scared when it happens. You should not. Let me tell you this. A really good friend of ours, Shirley's best friend in the entire world, once ruined the season finale of Scandal, and I truly think about it and was so scared. And I didn't know if they would ever come back from that. I'm pretty sure she stopped talking to her for about 2 months.
Correct.
So know that.
Now she came with a disclaimer, just like Amaya and her boundaries.
Yes.
She was like, have you watched the show? Correct.
Mecca risk it again.
I literally think about that so often. Like, you were so mad. I was like, and I really think about that.
And the crazy thing is, I think what made it worse for Shout out to Jasmine, love her. She actually just called me. But like, shout out to her because it was it wasn't the season finale. It was the last time Scandal was good when we found out about Papa Pope.
So that is even, it was the worst. Yeah, that was the last amazing season and the best twist reveal ever.
And I'm
impressed you only got 2 months of silent treatment.
Oh, I know. I literally.
And
there was, you know what makes it worse?
Jasmine is lucky that she is your very best friend.
She is my best
because
friend, my sister.
I know she would Shirla is Shirla. I know I'm like in the top of your top, of your friends.
Yes.
I don't think I would have made a comeback on that one.
You would have made a comeback.
Never talked to either of us ever.
It would have been a solid 8 years.
No, you guys would have made a comeback. It's the people
just now would be re-talking
right on this podcast.
I know, it just would have started today.
You guys would have made a comeback as the people below y'all. And this is why I relate to Ace, because like once Jeremiah told that story about he's held that grudge since the first day, I said, I get it.
Let me just tell you something.
I get it.
not that Ace should care what I have to think at all, but let me tell you, it's similar to how I started reevaluating how I felt about Leah based upon how like Serena and Janae saw something within her. This whole conversation is opening me up to Ace, and I was very closed off.
Yeah.
You want to talk about closed off? That was me with Ace.
Yeah.
Closed off in a very bad way. Bad way.
Enjoy the fun side.
Yeah.
It's like, he's like the show.
But
You
they
should
also,
enjoy the
he really
fun
is the
part.
show, because when I tell you, he's the only one that has articles written about it. And what I appreciate is the articles are not like hate articles. Like they're just like talking about like how he is really the conversation of the show. But I say this to you, I'm just like, it is okay if you don't, because they are going to have opportunities where they're going to disappoint you, period.
No, and I know that, but I generally, we, especially all three of us, we generally have the same like thought process enough where if there's something that you are like seeing that I didn't pick up on, it does make me want to maybe open up a little more, because I had made my decision on him. And not to say that I couldn't have changed on my own even without this conversation, but it is definitely extremely helpful for me to open up a little bit quick.
Yeah. I think once you start, now that you're caught up and you start getting on social media, I think when you hear it so much of just the clip farming, I think that also, because like for me, I was just like, that man can't even, he barely was in the episode yesterday. And it was still just like, Nick and Alondra together. I bet Ace is already planning Nick's downfall. And it's like, that's literally his best friend that he cried. And it's like, it's just people making up fan fiction and will not refuse to excuse Nick's behavior. That's my only thing. I'm just like, if you hate Ace, you gotta hate Nick too. So this is where I get confused, where I'm just like,
I feel you.
You not making sense.
I hate all the men.
Exactly. That's what I say. Stand on business. Because like it's like you're not making sense to me.
I am team all of the girls all of the time. I do not like any of the men. But maybe I'm excited to find out how I feel about every single person next week, and I'm excited to see how you guys feel next week.
Yeah.
So we will be coming back with you with a fresh perspective. As there will be an elimination. We're recording this on a Friday, so tomorrow or tonight. Is it tonight or tomorrow?
I think tonight's a week. No, all the couples come in. I would think Sunday's always the big, like, somebody.
When do they take a break?
Saturday.
So tomorrow will be after
Wednesday and Saturdays.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I'm going to try my best to try to get this episode out tomorrow, so that way we have more time and they get the time to like actually digest what we said, because we literally did 1 through 21 and a real crash course of how we've been feeling. And then now we can slow down a little bit and really get into it.
Like I said, like I'm very thankful for you, Pia, and happy that we did it this way. And I understand that you're traveling, but like as fast as this show moves, I think it makes it also inauthentic to like, not saying that anybody who's creating content like every day, but it's like the way when I watch them create content, how their opinions change. And then you can also see the biases. Like we see it all the time. We fight with Bravo people all the time. So it's like we see it. So kudos to you and this.
Well, kudos to all of us. And I'm thank you ladies so much for like, I'm glad that I'm so like, we all didn't back down from our opinions. I think we all had valid opinions.
Oh, yeah. Are we the PPG?
We are PPG.
They're calling them Ed, and Eddie. So we might be Ed, and Eddie.
We might be Ed, and Eddie. That's fine.
Not I'm Ace.
I feel no. I know what we are. We are the charmed ones.
Ooh, I like it.
Okay, we're the charmed ones, and Brittany's the fourth charmed one. Paige, because she's never here.
She's the later.
So are we the original charmed ones?
Yeah, we're the original charmed ones.
Okay, great.
Okay.
We can fight about
but we've said like a false bye like 5 times, but this time bye, and we'll see you next week.
Be kind.
Be kind. They're like, this is gonna be ever.
Right.
That was a crash course on Love Island. I'm exhausted, but I'm also like weirdly energized by that conversation. Like Shirla, Jaleeza, and I said, we have not talked about our opinions on Love Island, so I had no idea what they were going to say. They had no idea what I was going to say. And this is the first time we none of us have like completely been on the same page, but I am excited because we worked out some things and we still don't completely agree on every aspect, but that's okay because you don't always have to agree because at the end of the day, this is all entertainment, but you can keep it fucking respectful. And that was the biggest thing that we really wanted to drive home is that let's keep it respectful. These people that we're watching are people and we're allowed to, have criticism, but it gets too far when we're starting to threaten people and emotionally get them to a place where they could do something like harm themselves. So let's keep it cute, okay? Because we're not going to be doing that in our recaps. I don't care if you don't like somebody. If I don't like somebody, I'm not going to try to tear them down, okay? It's entertainment at the end of the day. It's Love Island, damn it. Okay, so I do want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. So please let us know what you've been thinking about Love Island USA so far. Who are your favorite Islanders? Who are your favorite couples? What are your predictions? Who do you think is going to be the ultimate winner? Let us know in the comments, and you can do that by following us all on our social medias. Let's start out with Shirla. You can find her on her Instagram at Shirla Divine, and she's also on TikTok at Shirla Divine, just add a 007. And you can find Jaleeza on Instagram at Jaleeza LH. And of course, me on TikTok and Instagram at PiaJV and YouTube at Pia Pops Off. Okay, my bombshells, my beautiful bombshells. I will see you back at the group chat villa next week with the next week's recap of what we're thinking, what we're vibing with the Islanders on Love Island USA. But before then, I think I'm forgetting something. What does Pia always say? Oh, yeah!